Hey everybody, it's Aldo Gandhi, and I just want to let you know really quickly that our swag shop is reopened. DeepDishTees.com is where you go, and that's tees with T-E-E-S. Clever name, guys. They're the new home of our merchandise. You can get t-shirts, you can get caps, you can get coffee mugs, you can get hoodies, you can get all sorts of good stuff, and you'll help out the bar room with the purchase. So head over to DeepDishTees.com.
Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
Put the children to bed. It's time for Dan and Aldo to bare their souls.
I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating, and that is a lot.
Then, with 3 seconds left, Bob Avellini throws a 30-something yard touchdown pass to Greg Latta, and the Bears win, and I literally shit my pants. I swear to God, I literally did.
Eric Kramer, for me, I love the guy. He's a tragic figure. I mean, he embodies all that is.
If they don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well. Not for a guy of his caliber.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
So, Dan, tape is the ultimate tool for scouts and for coaches to evaluate players, to detect plays and so forth. And they spend hours looking at tape, right? Why do they so often get shit wrong?
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan and Aldo.
Yeah, boy, I love the Chicago Bears, but they break my heart every day. Yeah. That's one of my worst opening songs. We need to bring Draft Dr. Phil just to do a theme song for us. What do you think, Dan?
Hey, I always liked Phil, you know, so I just didn't want to embarrass myself for him. He wanted me to sing Old Dirty Bastard, remember, and I refused.
That's right. Why did you refuse to sing Old Dirty Bastard on the old 100 Proof show?
Because I knew the whole point of it was to mock me. I mean, I liked Phil, significantly liked Phil, even if he doesn't like me, or I think he does. But yeah, and I have so much respect for he and his dad and his uncle.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I like Phil a lot.
Got a beautiful family. And overall, a nice fella. Just don't cross him. He gets really pissed off at you.
Yeah, well, you know.
You crossed him, right? Is that what it was?
No, he and I never really had any heat, except he was mad at me for being mad at Shane at the time, which, again, I did carry that out. And Shane and I are good, and I've apologized for my part in that and have no animosity toward him at all.
Yeah,
so,
hopefully.
And I especially wish his son well.
Exactly. It's just what I was going to say. And I guess he's got a new baby daughter as well. So hopefully all the family is doing well. How are you doing? You drove to Pittsburgh, and at halftime, you texted me and says, I drove all the way over here for this nightmare.
Yeah, early on, it's just, I was telling my friend, you know, again, we grew up together. His name's Sylvester Barner. And we grew up together, and he lives in Morgantown now, which is about 45 minutes away from Pittsburgh. So I could stay with him after the game.
Nice.
And drive home today. But I was telling him in the stands, I was like, you know, you and I talked about it, how the Bears don't really do any warm-ups before the game. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I can't be for sure I can't equate that to their slow starts. But from just a guy standing in the crowd, it looks like the two, maybe I'm connecting dots that aren't there. But last night they did a little bit more. But still, I can't fathom why is it that with this coach, they come out flat in nearly every first half?
Yep, and you
it
can't,
confounds my mind.
and you can't attribute it to the rookie quarterback, because this has happened in past years too. They come out of the tunnel, and for the most part, they have slow starts. I don't recall the exact statistic, but last year, first quarter, they were among the lowest scoring teams in the first quarter. And, this has been said for hundreds of years of NFL coverage, that you win the first quarter, the defense can then pin their ears back, they can do certain things and so forth. It's important to get off to a quick lead, particularly in today's NFL, where so many teams are passing, and you want that pass rush to get there. And so they're telegraphing they're going to throw every time. So it is a concern that this team gets out to slow starts. So tell me about your experience in the second half when the team shoots out and they start showing a chance to win this game.
Yeah, my body language was 100% different, because I was sitting or standing like at the edge, like where all I could look over to my left was see one of those rivers or lakes, whatever the hell it is. I think it's a river outside the stadium.
That's right.
It's a big body of water, and the wind's coming off of that, and it's cold a little bit. Not like too cold, but I didn't even want to look to my left. Early on, I was sitting, and I wanted to stand, but I was so high up that I was afraid of the height.
Right.
It was like, it made me dizzy looking over there, but I got so sucked into the game that I didn't give a shit about the height thing anymore, and stood the whole second half, and was, like I said, my little row, because there's only like 10 seats in that row, they were all Bears fans.
I've actually got video of your seat. So go ahead and continue to tell the story. I'll hold this up for the camera.
A couple of things about Pittsburgh that I thought was weird. For one, before the game was over, they started letting off fireworks. And then, of course, I ran my fucking mouth when we scored at the end with Mooney. I was like, they let off their fucking fireworks too soon, didn't they? And of course, I'm the one running my mouth, and I ran off my mouth too soon. But secondly, their PA announcer is egregiously bad. Like, for example, I know everyone wants to placate their audience. Like, if Big Ben is sacked, he said, like, Roethlisberger tackled behind the line, never called it a sack, never acknowledges who has the sack. When the Bears score, he's not going to be like, even in a monotone, Justin Fields to Jimmy Graham, touchdown. He just says, touchdown Chicago. And that's it. He doesn't even say, like when Houston Carson scored, from my vantage point, I couldn't tell who scored for the Bears. It was in the opposite end zone. And their video board sucks there. And I couldn't see who scored. I didn't know who scored until after I got out of the stadium, because that fuckhead didn't say it. So, yeah, those experiences of Pittsburgh I didn't like, but the people were cooler to me. I'll give you that. No one referred to Sylvester and I as gay. And the guy, you'll like this. We were going down the escalators at the end, and the guy, the Steeler fans that were around us, two of them specifically, he's like, man, we got away with one tonight. He's like, and again, not making this up. This is a kid that was probably 20, 22, 23. He goes, I honestly like the Bears. All right. I think their chances are going to be good once you get rid of that coach.
Look at that. And that is a kind of a national opinion when it comes to Matt Nagy. The national media talks about it. Other fans on the Buffon 55, he has bloggers and podcasters on, and they all said the same thing. It's the coach. And you obviously didn't see the national broadcast. Did you see it at home when you got home, or?
No, I made sure I had it. Made sure there was no shenanigans like the power going out or something. It was on my TiVo. I've already put it on DVD, but I just didn't have the time to watch it before I came to work today.
Yeah. So again, the national media just mocking the Chicago Bears. They had this Blues Brothers cartoon with Matt Nagy as one of the Blues Brothers and Ryan Pace as the other Blues brother. And the joke was basically that the offense is a catastrophe while they've been in charge of the team. And they had the Blues Brothers police car crashing into things and stuff. I don't exactly remember how it was, but it wasn't funny. But yet here they were just joking about the Bears. And, we've become the punchline of the NFL when it comes to the offense. Detroit Lions will always be the punchline of the NFL. So Don Burr, sorry, wherever you are, that's just the reality. You guys are never going to win a championship ever.
I started to tell you, I don't want to interrupt your point,
Please.
but I didn't text. I came like milliseconds into texting you this because I was in such a bad mood early on. I was like, I'm telling you right now, this Bears team, if they were playing the 76 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we would lose. I was starting to tell you that early on, and I was glad. By the time the second half, it felt like we've got some momentum or something somehow here, at least on offense, and it just felt like, okay, we've got a shot. Mm-hmm. Even before they scored, they suddenly were moving the ball, and Fields was looking good, and I just was like, hey, we're in this, even though the score didn't reflect it yet, but it just felt different. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead with what you were saying.
I like where you're at, because one of the things I wanted to mention to you is what were your impressions of Justin Fields? Because as you'll hear later in the local media here, they're basically crowning him. He's a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but everybody's really, really happy of the steps that he took yesterday. You were there live. Did you sense that? Did you feel that? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. And again, my friend, whom again I told you I went to the game with, he's been my friend since Little League. So he's a little bit older than me. He graduated. He was a senior in high school, and I was a freshman. But I've known him. We were still on the same Little League team, but he was like 11 or 12, and I was 9. You get the point. So I've known him forever. Mm-hmm. And again, he's not a Bears fan for any reason. I mean, he's just there for me. You know. Mm-hmm. He goes, the one solace, this isn't a direct quote for him, but he goes, the one solace you have as we leave here tonight is you got your quarterback. And he's like, when's the last time you thought you had your quarterback? I mean, honestly, and he was bringing up Trubisky. He said, I know you wanted him to be good, but did you honestly feel like in your heart of hearts that he was good and he was the answer? You wanted him to be, but was he? And I was like, no, you're right. And he goes, you got your quarterback. And like, even though you're losing right now, you got your quarterback, and that's something. Yep. You just got to keep him healthy. And I guess that is a moral victory. It does feel like he's the guy. And even all those crazy things happen, like, of course, every quarterback we get, whether it's Jay Cutler, Mahomes could be here, Rodgers could be here, and there's always a defensive lineman that gets a fucking interception all the time against us. The 85 Bears could be our line, and he would still throw. You got a pass tipped and picked off by a fat guy. It always happens to us. Yeah. Remember BG Raji or whatever his name was in the championship game?
A fucking course.
Oh my God. It's just like, the same things happen over and over and over. But yeah, he showed grit and determination. Those late hits that of course didn't generate penalties, which again is bullshit. But he was able to take those hits, get right back up, despite that adversity, despite Pittsburgh, getting everything handed to him. He just kept coming, man. He kept scoring. I honestly believe if we had more time at the end of the game, he would have gotten Cairo into field goal range.
Yes.
At the end, he had all the momentum. He just ran out of time there. But the only thing I can be critical of, and I don't know if this is Nagy, which it probably is, or if it was Fields, at the end, instead of just throwing those little screen passes, at least just take one shot. Now, maybe the thought process is that's going to eat up 7-8 seconds.
Exactly.
That's my only, but maybe you get a penalty.
Mm-hmm. Right.
A defensive penalty or something.
Right.
Now, I'm not even talking about the kick.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have been critical of the kick from what I understand reading on Twitter. I wasn't able to listen to anything last night, but everyone apparently has been critical of having Cairo go out there. You know what? A Hail Mary, it's almost a Hail Mary with the kick as well. Maybe they should have thrown, I don't know, but I'm just talking about the plays that led up to his kick. Maybe you should have taken a shot.
Both attempts, the field goal and the Hail Mary pass from that part of the field, were Hail Marys. I think you put it perfectly. And Matt Nagy did talk about what the decision process was, and they just felt like, you know what, let's just gobble up the yards. We've got enough time to get Carlos into field goal range, so let's focus on that as opposed to a Hail Mary pass. They only had 20 seconds when they got the ball there. So it probably, made sense. given how automatic Santos has been, but at the same
his career long was like 55, I think.
Exactly.
So you're asking him to do something he's never done before.
Right.
But the kick was dead on. It was dead center. It's
It
a little bit
was.
short. I think if it would have been 60, he may have made it.
Yeah, it landed about 5 yards deep into the end zone. So I'm not a geometry math major or whatever, but another 5 yards to the end line and then the 10 feet height, he probably needed another 10, 12 yards is my guess.
Okay, well, I stand corrected on that.
I'm just guessing.
But,
I'm not correction.
At the very least, his wheelhouse is probably not going to exceed 55 yards.
Not in those conditions. Indoors, I bet you he could probably hit a 60-yarder. But you were there.
Nobody's blaming him for that. Obviously,
yeah. Didn't seem to be any wind issues. But of course, the fall air.
It was lipping where I was standing.
Oh, was it?
I was right beside that water.
Yeah, you were up there, man. All right, I want to play. What I did with the media highlights. Dan usually does these, and he does an outstanding job. But because he was traveling and so forth, I gladly stepped in. And what I did is I divided them into two parts. The first one that I'm going to play is the local media's reaction to Justin Fields and the game in general. So, and then after that, we'll talk about the reaction. And then after that, I want to play the national media reaction to the taunting penalty and the big mystery of whether the official bumped into Cassius Marsh or was that just an accidental thing. So that would be the second roll in, and that's all national media with the exception of a small clip I have from the David Kaplan at the after game show, I think they call it, here on local Comcast Chicago. But here's the radio reaction to the game, and I didn't attribute the radio stations on screen, so I'll try to type those into the banners to give people proper attribution. But here goes.
Development of the quarterback, we saw him reach a level last week and exceed it this week, and we are seeing a guy that is coming more into his own. And frankly, it's incredibly exciting. Just the idea that he can stand in that moment and make the plays that are needed. And I mean, it was different level stuff. We have not seen that from a Bears quarterback in a while, certainly not a young one. He's 22 years old. But the defense, again, has a chance. I get it. They scored too early. Oh, you can't give Big Ben that kind of time. Give me a break.
Come on.
They surrendered the game-winning field goal without the kind of fight that you would expect, and they had bad moments throughout the game.
Yeah, they really did, and they gave up 29 points, Mully. You're not going to win on the road when you give up 29 points, so we can find factors and contributing things to the loss, but when you're a defense and you give up 29 points to an average, if at best offense for the Steelers, you're not going to win many games. The Justin Fields emergence and however we want to describe it. Last week, I think that I repeated a couple times, it felt like to me the 49er game, because of that singular moment, was more like a breakthrough than breakout. Yeah. Last night felt like a breakout. Yeah. Last night to me felt more like a breakout because of what happened when they needed it most, and what happened in the way that Justin Fields overcame earlier inconsistency or mistakes and was unfazed in that environment to come back and give them a chance. And when he made that play to give them the lead with 1:46 left, you think, we just watched something very special, and you want to mark the occasion if you're a Bears fan, and then the defense surrenders and Big Ben takes the ball down the field and they win.
It was great to watch Justin Fields make every throw in the route tree that you wanted to see him make.
How about the first time he gets a chance for the big drive? Literally the childhood dream. When you're in the backyard, you're thinking, I'm going to quarterback us in the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter and take us there. The first time he gets a chance to do that in the NFL, he was gorgeous. Like, it was 7 plays, 75 yards in 1:06. and he was calm, and he said he was just focused on showing up. Yeah, can you imagine the first time you get to do it, you nail it like that? It was so exciting.
To see him and Nagy, you kind of told the story of him smiling, being like, all right, I got this opportunity, and I'm going to go and make the most out of it. There's also that part.
That's my quarterback.
I saw him smiling after. I was happy for him. Like, I was like, man, that dude has been through some crap here. He has like put up with some stuff and trying to figure it all out and getting beaten and battered. And I know Pittsburgh came back and won. I totally remember that part of the game.
I don't.
It's never been less important.
I don't care at all.
But that moment after the drive, Lawrence, when he's walking down the sidelines and high-fiving guys and just grinning from ear to ear, good for you, kid. You know,
it was definitely like a moment for all of us to be like, ooh wee, like look at this right here. They may have gotten this part of it right.
Never got it right before in our lives,
and I can't wait to go back and look at the throws because it's the touch on the throw to Allen Robinson.
I rewatched this morning. It ages well.
I'm sure it does.
It ages well, Lawrence.
It's the bullet throw over the middle to Cole Kmet.
Which one?
Right, you're
there
right.
There are multiple options.
No, you're right.
There's the 8-yarder that he like right in there. He threaded a needle. Then there's the one down the left hash. Woo! They were both beautiful. Sorry, forget it. He's rolling. Continue. Which throw? I'm ready.
Or the throw to Marquise Goodwin on the sideline.
Ooh, small underthrow. Doesn't matter. Mitch would have put it into the second row. No big deal. Or 50-yarder.
Or the touchdown to Mooney where he has to
touch.
It has to be touch. It has to be him squaring his shoulders. It's on the move. Like, it's a gorgeous throw.
He's really good throwing on the move to his left.
How about
He's
that?
a righty.
I'm aware.
Oh, that's the cool part.
I'm aware. I know that's not Ken Stabler or Mark Brunell. I am familiar with which arm he throws
that
the
means
ball.
You can roll him out either direction.
Yes.
Not in the first half, apparently. That's not in the playbook.
Hey, Danny.
Yeah.
How about those chunk plays yesterday?
Oh, well, which one was your favorite, Lawrence? He completed 7 of them.
He had 7 chunk plays yesterday.
7 of them. Last time that happened to a Bears quarterback, I was 20.
And how old a man are you now?
35. It's been 15 years since the Bears have had a game with that many chunk plays, with that many 15-yard completions.
On offense?
15 years.
The outcome of the game, I always want my team to win, is secondary to me. The development of this quarterback is the primary goal for me. So hands down, the officiating sucked. The discipline or lack thereof was awful. There's no question to me in my world, the most important part of what transpired last night was you saw a young man who is very comfortable in doing what he's doing, and he's making strides in a significant path right now in a lot of ways. Like he is making decisive decisions to tuck and run when there's nothing there. He's pushing the ball downfield. One of the things that I have looked at and said that he needs to get better at is trusting himself in what he sees and throwing the ball into tight windows. He's doing that. I don't think you can... I mean, again, you can be upset that they lost the game, certainly. You can be mad about the coaching staff and a lot of other things. To me, I come away from that game last night, and I feel really good about their future with their quarterback. And their development of that young man, to me, is the overall biggest story coming out of that game.
And look, a lot of people may say, we were talking about this yesterday, like, can Justin Fields, what to root for with them if they go to 3-6?
Yeah.
Do you root for disaster because you want the regime out? And I said to you yesterday before the game, the biggest thing that I'm rooting for is Justin Fields' progress.
You got it.
And whatever comes with that, so be it. I don't want them to stay with Pace and Nagy. But if the number one thing that happens over the last 9 games, now 8 left, is that Justin Fields really improves, and we know at the end of the year he's good. And that who knows, the sky could be the limit.
Yeah.
Chris Collinsworth tweeted that he had the best graded performance out of any quarterback this week in the NFL, and Chicago has definitely got its QB1. There are going to be still growing pains over these next 8 games. But like all quarterbacks are still going through tough games. But I feel way better today than I did 2 weeks ago.
But what's so disappointing, Cap, is how undisciplined the football team is. No matter how harmonious it is up there at House Hall where everyone gets along, when you get on the field and there's all these penalties and all these mistakes, that's just not good enough, man. That's on the players, but it's also on coaching as well. I mean, you understand it's a rowdy environment at Heinz Field, and that's one thing. But when you're just not even – when you're in the neutral zone twice, a Robert Quinn, a veteran, time and time again, you are beating yourself in that spot. And whatever you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers, that was a winnable game at the end. There's no question. But it just shows you the difference between a team that can be able to win at the end and a team that beats themselves. And that's exactly what the Bears did yesterday. Again, another waste of time. It was good to see the Bears rally in the fourth quarter with a chance to win, but it just shows you they just can't finish because that's who they are.
The undisciplined Chicago Bears showed you why we have a problem with our coaching staff. We had 115 penalty yards on 12 penalties. Pittsburgh only had 4, and they were all ticky-tacks. We fought, clawed, scratched. This is the effort we've been begging for, and yet it was all for naught because of the team being so undisciplined. But, tip your cap to Justin Fields. Bill Lazor, by hook or crook, we were able to generate some offense. Yeah, we got great fumble recovery and return for a touchdown. Other than that, every single point the Bears got tonight, they had to scratch, bite, and claw to get. I hate to say this is, a moral victory, but it's such a shame that it has to be a loss because of so much stupidity on the part of so many different players.
Well, Dan, I'll tell you, it was so nice to see for the Bears to actually throw a long pass. The one to Mooney, it was a hitch and go. We threw, two 50-yarders?
It's by far the most yards that Fields has thrown for this year.
Right. That's not really saying much. My point is, we're going down the field. This is the 9th game of 17, and we finally went downfield. We tried to attack. We tried to score. But the fact of the matter is now we're 3-6. It's not looking good, folks. It's just not looking good.
Dan Aguirre, what do you think about what the gentleman from the Chicago radio media said about the post game, about the Bears loss to Steelers?
The officiating had to be bad for Tom Waddle to complain about it.
Yeah.
No, for real. Waddle's one of those guys that would normally say, you can't do anything about the officiating, so why waste your time complaining about it?
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that. He's very pragmatic, as you know.
Right.
And even Tom Waddle talked about it. So that was one of the things that jumped out to me. So I kind of agree with mostly everyone's assessment. I don't know why Jay Hood just rubs me the wrong way. Not that I don't like him, but he always kind of has, when I'm optimistic, something to throw on to that and just be like, well, you shouldn't be so fucking happy,
By the way, I realized just when you said that I made a mistake. I said the show was Cap and Holmes. It's Cap and Hood, and I apologize to Jay Hood for that mistake and the folks over
I didn't even notice you saying that.
No, I didn't say it. I had a graphic up on the screen. So.
Okay. I was going to say, I didn't hear you say that at all, but that explains it.
Yeah. So here's a thought that I had in listening back to it, is that the first half, everybody was just like gaga and giddy. They didn't give a shit about the final score. They were just gaga about what Justin Fields did, particularly in that second half and the heroic effort he had to lead this team back into into the lead after trailing 14-0 at one point, or 14-3 at one point, 14-0.
It was 14-0 early. Yeah.
So, and then the second half is there were people like Jay Hood who were just so upset that the Bears lost and are now, bemoaning the fact that they're not going to make the playoffs. Well, the Bears, we knew the Bears weren't going to make the playoffs a couple of weeks ago. This now, and it started a week ago, this is now all about Justin Fields and his development and getting this promise from him that he's going to be a franchise quarterback, that he is going to be a quarterback like all the other quarterbacks who have won Super Bowls, the Drew Breeses, the Ben Roethlisbergers, even Aaron Rodgers, even those quarterbacks that have won at least one, but have been competitive over a long career. Justin Fields is headed in that direction. That's what happened yesterday. That was a sign, and it is an indication that it's going to continue, that there's no turning back. This guy is going to be the guy. Do you agree with that assessment? Is your confidence level high enough that you can say, yeah, this isn't Mitch Trubisky. Yeah, this isn't Jay Cutler. Yeah, this isn't any of these other guys that I've seen fail over and over and over again as the Bears quarterback. This is the guy.
Well, I don't want to argue over Cutler, and I know you and I are pretty similar on Jay anyway, with regards to his play. You know, we wanted him to be successful, but I don't know if I think Jay was above Mitch. So I think Jay was much better than Trubisky. But anyway,
totally agree.
Take Cutler. Okay, to use Cutler, I feel like only the Bears could turn Jay Cutler into a 51-51 quarterback. Because I honestly believe if Cutler would have stayed in Denver and Mike Shanahan's not fired, that they probably win a Super Bowl with Brandon Marshall and Eddie Royal and Jay in their primes. I really do. And Mike Shanahan was an excellent coach, but they pulled the plug on it. So I think the Bears I don't want the Bears to ruin this guy. And this coaching staff is very capable of ruining him. So I don't have confidence that he can supersede Matt Nagy in the long run, but I do have confidence that he is, the guy we wanted when we drafted. He's had some ups and downs, but I don't want to give you a monologue. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to interrupt and ask you, I want to play the devil's advocate like Greg Gabriel did with me today but he's showing progress under Matt Nagy. Why shouldn't we believe, because this is the case Matt Nagy is making to General Manager Ryan Pace and the McCaskey family and Ted Phillips, he's getting better. And the fact that
I want to answer that immediately.
All right. Okay, go ahead.
Immediately, every week, it feels like it's so arduous for us to score any points. It's just like it takes a 17-play drive. It's just so hard, with the exception of that special teams touchdown yesterday. Every point is just so difficult to come around, which is why you have to take the short field goals when you get screwed out of a Jimmy Graham touchdown down there. You just need the points. And he's supposed to be a guru, and they never score. So that's one. And two, the defense, which, hey, you could say Sean Desai's the coordinator, it's on him. But you know what? We're beyond that now. Chuck Pagano's gone. Vic Fangio's gone. Matt Nagy is the coach. And last night you had a quarterback who literally can't move anymore. At the end, he tried to run like a little bootleg or some shit. It was like 2 or 3 yards, and it looked like he was about to die. So I don't know why you sit back in a zone and not pressure him. To me, I've said this for weeks. Part of the reason you have this 4-game losing streak again, because last year it was 6. They had a losing streak in 19 as well. What was it, 5 games in 2019? Every year this team has a fucking meltdown, which I predicted almost when the Rodgers thing happened. But the point is, the defense, he's responsible for them too. And he's allowed, Jimmy Garoppolo and Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady, unmobile quarterbacks, to stand back there and barely even get touched. Blitz these guys some, but he wants to stay back in this soft ass fucking, zone back there and gets no pressure.
You know the reason for that, right? Dan, you know the reason for that they're deciding not to blitz Ben?
No.
Because he is a killer of blitzes. A veteran,
I'm sorry.
veteran quarterbacks. Hold on a second. Veteran quarterbacks who are adept, who have success in this league, are begging you to blitz them. Begging you. Add to that the defensive backfield of the Bears is not playing well. Eddie Jackson is missing. You got the young guys at cornerback who are showing susceptibility. And so now you're really begging them to begging Big Ben to burn you. So you've got to try to win those 4-man rushes so that you can have 7 guys back there guarding against the pass. That's the strategy. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. To me, it's like gambling and throwing dice and hoping that it's a 5 and a 2 or whatever the hell. That's the reason why.
Well, to me, that's part of the reason he needs out of here. Because the fall of that defense is that you could say, oh, well, Khalil Mack's hurt. But Khalil Mack was playing hurt. I get that. But like against Tom, just look at the Brady game, just as an example. The 2 times Tom Brady's lost the Super Bowl was because the Giants hit him over and over and over. Well, I guess he lost at Eagles too, but 2 of the 3 times, the Giants just hit him relentlessly. The time that the Bears beat Brady in 2020, what happened? They hit him so many times, he fucking forgot what down it was. That's the game plan. You got Robert Quinn out there. Robert Quinn, from where I was standing last night, had a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what his stats were. I didn't get to watch the TV copy. He looked like he was making an impact. Rush him. Let's see what 99 does without Khalil out there. Gibson's played well when Khalil was being spelled, like when he needed a breather because he was playing hurt. I still think you got to take chances to try to go after them. And how well has the defense looked the last couple of weeks back in that fucking zone? Just no pressure. I kept saying last night to Sylvester, I was like, look, this is 3rd and 7. This is where a good defense gets off the field. First down, Pittsburgh. Well, here we are again. It's 3rd and 13. Like, oh, first down, Pittsburgh. It's just like, just get off the field. We just need one stop for the win. Come on. I mean, part of that's on Nagy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not defending Sean Desai's coaching strategy. 4,000 Clovers says, Aldo, that would have been true 5-10 years ago when Ben was more mobile and younger and a stronger arm and so forth. I'm not arguing with that. I'm not endorsing Sean Desai's strategy. I'm just explaining to you that the reason for his strategy is because he doesn't have 100% confidence in the defensive backfield, particularly with the captain of the defensive backs, Eddie Jackson, out, and that you just feel like you should win these 4-on-5 battles at the line of scrimmage. That's the test. And so when they say when they have Josh Woods guarding a wide receiver in a slot, what is it that they say? That's the strategy. It's got to work. We put that emphasis on those players, and they got to make the play. That's the way they think, not me. But I hear what you're saying. Matt Nagy's responsible for that thinking, so get rid of him.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong on this, and it's just an opinion. There's no way to prove it to me to be right or false. But I think Desai is kind of like, he's just happy to be the coach. I think he's going to do what Matt Nagy tells him to do. He's not going to stand up to Nagy and say, no, man, we're going to bring the pressure right now. That's what we need. Matt Nagy's pretty much the defensive coordinator now, too, in my opinion. He's making that call on what defense to be in. I don't know about personnel and things like that. I'm not trying to say he's working who's on the field right now. I'm sure Desai's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I think what our strategy is at any given moment is Matt Nagy's. Well, and another thing, last thing, I'll be quiet. Matt Nagy, 3rd and 1 and a fucking shotgun again. Just kill me. God, stop it.
Mm-hmm. And you're right. I mean, Sean Desai is calling all of the plays. Matt Nagy is not calling a single play on Sunday on offense or defense. But during the week, when they install all of the plays, they analyze what the defense does well, compare it to what the offense does well, and then they all talk together. This is the coordinators with the head coach and the position coaches, and they all select what the game plan is. Well, against this offensive line, against these receivers, blah, 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 we suggest this. And Matt Nagy approves all of that, and then at the game, Lazier and Desai are calling the plays. That's it. I know people like to say, well, Matt Nagy is calling the plays now, or, he's even calling the defensive plays. That's not true. That's not the way it's happening. That's just not happening that way. These guys.
I just meant with the strategy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's before the game. Like
that's what I just said. What I just said.
Okay.
All week
I didn't
long.
mean to contradict you. I'm sorry.
All week long, Nagy is approving all of the strategy that he and the other coaches have input to. So The biggest play of the game is this taunting penalty. I want when it happened, what was your reaction? You mentioned earlier that you didn't even know who the Bears player was, but what was your reaction? What was your friend's reaction? What was the reaction of the people around you?
Swear on my mom's grave when he did that fucking karate kick or whatever it was, which again, and seeing it on Twitter, it's not really that bad. You saw Neil Smith used to do like the baseball swing every time he got a sack, and the whole defense takes off running and mugs for the camera and shit. So him doing his little karate kick or just standing there isn't egregious in comparison with anybody else in this league. But at the time that he did that kick, I started screaming, no taunting, get off the field, get off the field. I was like, he literally was to my right. And I was like, had my arms on his shoulder, shaking him, get off the field. But I was shaking my friend. Like, I was like, get off the field. No. And then of course, here comes the flag. But that was my reaction. I was screaming, don't get a taunting penalty when I saw him do that kick.
And what was the reaction of the Steelers fans?
I honestly, I would be lying if I told you that I was listening or paying attention to them at all in any way. Nobody during the game was bothering me or communicating with me or taunting me or anything. So it was the little section I was in were Bear fans, and nobody was harassing me in any way or anything. So, and they just did their weird things at the break, trying to get them to wave that goddamn towel and playing these awful songs and shit. And I'm like, the overall experience of seeing the game in Pittsburgh is way worse than like Cleveland. We got the muck from the dumbasses and stuff. Right. But overall, the experience in the stadium and stuff, I enjoyed it more, but I enjoyed the people better in Pittsburgh this time. But just being in the stadium, I didn't really, I got just like, God, get back from commercial. Let's go. Like, I can't even give it. They were playing. It felt like it could have been 1993 with the shit they were playing in the stadium. Just it breaks, and the whole thing was to try to get them to wave that damn towel.
That is hilarious. Before I roll this clip of the taunting stuff, put up that Bear Truth one again, Johnny. The problem with our team is that Nagy doesn't inspire, motivate, and create a play 100-mile-per-hour win at any cost mentality. Would you agree with that? Clearly, right, Dan?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Okay, because I feel the same way, but Greg Gabriel was saying today in our earlier shows that players haven't given up on him. And I tend to agree, but I don't think that they're playing. Every player on that team is playing with the way Bear Truth 9 aspires this team to play, motivated and creating a 100-mile-an-hour win at any cost mentality. So anyway, let's get to the national media's response on the so-called taunting penalty. And Dan, if you can get to your phone so you can see some of these visuals while these guys talk. These are mostly the morning shows on the national networks, but I do have a quick soundbite here from the Cap show on NBC Chicago.
Last night.
What happened, Jay?
We'll get into it.
You got cheated.
The Bears.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
got cheated.
But so, Key, if I'm reading this right, there's some shot at Nagy in there somewhere.
Maybe.
All right. Well,
that's what you get for betting. Keep your money in your pocket.
Well, I made money last night, actually.
That's how you get cheated.
No, I'm just because
you could have made even more. What
Bears covered. That's what I'm saying. It's how it went down. It went down.
It was a good game, no?
12 flags, 115 yards and penalties. I mean, some home cooking going on there.
It is over officiated this year generally, not just last night, but this year, the taunting rules and everything.
Yeah, the taunting rules, I would have had I would have never been able to play a game.
That's such an
They'd have been like, get this dude off the field, man.
You can't even stare at people these days now. You can't stare. Staring is taunting. Keith, don't stare at me. That's taunting. That's a flag.
Really, I mean, that was ridiculous last night.
Some backstory. This offseason, the NFL put in this taunting rule, and it kind of was buried under a lot of other new policies and rules. And I think there is a clear delineation of like what is taunting and what is not taunting. Taunting is when you're doing it in the face of somebody else, but celebrating is when you do it elsewhere. Because the Steelers had an interception yesterday, and the entire team gets to run into the end zone and celebrate and do the thing. And, hey, pictures, and we're like, woohoo, Selly of the month. Like, we do this whole thing with celebration. We love it. And then Cassius Marsh does this kick, looks at the sideline.
Nice kick, too. Nice kick, by the way.
Great kick, and we say, all right, well, that's dangerous to the game. This is where Tony Corrente's in a tough spot. The NFL's competition committee said this is a point of emphasis, which doesn't mean it's just a new rule. It's like, we want you guys to call this. Part of the reason was we were getting some gestures from players last couple years that were coming off as really bad sportsmanship. Some cases that were, inciting violence on the field. Like, I don't know where the line crosses here. Look, the coach is yelling at him, but Cash is like, I've been doing that kick move my entire career, and he's had a long career. And
it wasn't about the kick, right?
And he's like,
rules have changed. That's
rules
true.
have changed. It's not the wrong call because it's the point of emphasis. Like, he's doing his job. It sucks. I know. It sucks if you're a Bears fan. Like, what do you mean? That's not the point. The rule is there.
Thank you.
You cannot do that. You cannot look at the opposing team's sideline.
Glare at it.
Bro, you had already done, you did like 5 spin kicks. I mean, I thought this was Mortal Kombat. He had done 5 spinning kicks.
Okay, he's always done that after a sack. That's his signature celebration.
Okay.
Got it. And they didn't flag that.
Guess what it was? Because he was looking at the end zone.
Yeah.
He was doing all that, and they go keep on doing that. And then that wasn't enough because that didn't garner the attention that he wanted. He had to turn and face the Steelers bench. What do you think's going to happen?
I remember I learned this rule over the offseason, and I was with a bunch of different colleagues from Fox, and Charles Woodson could not stomach it and was sitting in the room while the head of officiating was speaking to us, and he's raising his hand. He's like, that's going to cost someone a big game, or that's going to cost someone a playoff game. You can't have that cost a playoff game. Like, and they're like, yes, but the players will learn, and hopefully by the end of the season, they'll know you can't taunt. It's a tough thing to stomach, and of course the Bears would go on to score, so it's almost a moot point. But they also called it last week, and we didn't go nuts about it.
Right.
Eli Penny gets an easy first down, and it's a big play for the Giants.
For the first down.
And guys, this was last week on Monday Night Football. Watch Eli Penny here. I mean, does that seem so demonstrative? Does he look like he's doing something that's going to incite violence with that? No. It's a 15-yard penalty. Knock the Giants back. It is the rule, and
Point of emphasis.
It's the point of emphasis. The league has told the refs, call this if you can.
The reason we're talking about it is not just the taunting penalty, but the fact that the flag comes out as he's walking by the ref, Conti, right? Correnti. He's walking by the ref, Correnti. It looks like he tries to turn right and catch Marsh with his elbow, misses, because like the ref is trying to make sure that Marsh hits him. And then when he misses, he turns left to make sure that Marsh clips him on the way past, and then he pulls the flag.
I agree. I believe Tony Corrente stepped in this gentleman's line of in his path, caused him to bump him. Now, I thought that's what he threw the flag on is because the Marsh bumped into him. Skip, I didn't know that.
Okay, but you're saying he stepped into Marsh's path.
Yes, he did. Because Marsh looked like he was...
I agree.
Right. Marsh
so
looked like
you
he was
can't
trying to
flag him if you run into him.
Right, but he's saying he flagged him for taunting the bench.
Yes.
But if that was the case, when he was doing all that, throw the flag then, and therefore you don't back into him and then throw the flag once the guy bumps into you. Because, Skip, even if the guy, if I'm on the field, this happened to Rod Smith on a Monday night. He was tussling with a DB. He snatches his hand from the DB, and he accidentally hits the official. Flag goes up in there, Rod is gone. He didn't mean to do it, but if you make contact with official on the field, it's an automatic ejection. Well, Tony Corrente, you bumped into the guy. You hip-checked the guy. That guy was not going to bump Tony Corrente, Skip. And the way he was running, Corrente back. So the NFL should suspend him for 1 game.
Wow.
1 game. He's got to miss a game, Skip. He's got to miss a game.
Tony Corrente has called the Super Bowl. Like he's one of the highest graded officials. And he can just be wrong. Told the pool reporter the contact with me had nothing to do with it.
Again, who are you going to believe, me or the video?
So why didn't he throw it before that?
So he said he threw it because he taunted the other team.
That should have been thrown before.
So he should have thrown it way before he got on the other side of him.
And just a little context here. At this point, the Steelers have been called for 2 penalties.
The Bears have been called for 11. Wow. The Bears sideline was apoplectic all night. It's a desperation game, going to a bye. The season might be over. Nagy, everyone was on the officials, like on them. Right. They're human beings. I think the officials had maybe had enough and were pissed and were tired of this and they've been getting worn out. That bump is a little bit weird, and I think it should be looked at. That's all I will say.
I want the players on the field to determine the game. I don't like when refs inject themselves into the game at the end of games to that extent. I don't like it. No. So Marsh literally played for the Steelers. Obviously, there's something a little bit personal there. He didn't bark anything crazy, not that what I've known or what I've heard or what I've read.
Or has been reported,
But like, these taunting calls, for a stare down, for like going over 5 yards, for just a stare down.
If we back up just to the fact that the NFL has these idiotic rules that affect play on the game after the fact. Plays over, game is like that next play, and now because of something you say or some look you give, that affects the field position that can determine a game.
Dan Aguirre, I think Kyle Brandt really hit on something when he said that the amount of penalties that the Bears were accumulating, and many of them bad calls, the Bears bench, coaches and players are giving it to the officials. And I think that when that happened, that so-called taunting, that Corrente was fed up and he was looking for an excuse to throw that flag, which is why you can see physically he moves into the path of Cassius Marsh. And so I think that maybe it's intentional or maybe it's a subconscious kind of thing. I think that had a lot to do with it. Your thoughts?
I feel exasperated. And I think it was Shannon Sharp. See, I tried to follow the video. It just was behind or something.
Sure. It was
from
Shannon.
what I was hearing.
Yeah.
It just didn't match up for me. So I turned it off in that regard. But it could be the Wi-Fi here. I'm not saying it's your problem.
No, it's a 7-second delay from what you're hearing on your headsets to what's coming out on YouTube.
Yeah, but I think it was Shannon Sharp by voice that was saying he should be suspended, and I completely advocate that. I think people have forgotten when they mentioned, well, he did the Super Bowl. Shit, Alex, he did your Super Bowl. But I agree with Alex in the sense that I made that point to two people here, the owner that was here earlier, and I should have said it on air, and to my program director. Neither one of them watched the game last night. And I was like, look, just watch this play without me saying anything. And it was that hip check thing. And both of them were like, wow. I was like, if that wasn't the reason he threw the flag, then why did he wait to after the contact? And Alex Brown said that, I believe, on the audio there, or audio for me. And I agree with that 100%. That he seemed to, like you said, he wanted to throw a flag, and that was the catalyst. He's fucking lying to Adam Hogue there at the end. He's fucking lying. And I told you before the game, this guy bullshits like that. And I said this before we went on air. I want to say it again, and maybe it's just me being a meatball, crybaby bitch, whatever. I honestly believe that the Bears are like that game were cheated probably as bad as anyone since the 1970 Raiders, or 72 specifically, with that postseason game as we now have come to know as the Immaculate Reception. But the Raiders, that were cheated numerous times there, but I don't know if anyone's been cheated that badly there since the Raiders before last night, where everything goes the other way. By the way, are you going to include any sentiments from Howard Stern? Because if you're not, I want to talk about that. And my friend who went to the game with me sent me that audio from Colin Cowherd that I sent you earlier.
Yeah.
If you didn't check that out, there's some good shit with Cowherd putting over Fields, and then he goes into a new Aaron Rodgers story that I didn't even know about, and he's just calling Rodgers a pussy and a liar and all this shit. It's great.
Does that Cowherd stuff need to be edited? Is it long?
I think it's like it's probably over 5 minutes.
All right, I'll check it out when we bring John in, and I'll if I have to trim it.
The first part is him talking about how, again, Fields is the guy. And again, I definitely don't watch Colin Cowherd, but my friend Sylvester said, you got to see this. And the rest of it is, I'll tell you this to see if it piques your interest. Apparently, Aaron Rodgers told People Magazine, get the fuck out of here, was talking to People Magazine or something about how he's upset that more people didn't come to defend him.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Cowherd has this thing. He's like, you know why people don't defend you? It's because you're a piece of fucking shit that goes around ghosting everybody, and your friendships or quote unquote friendships are all one-sided.
Mm-hmm.
That's why nobody defends you, because you're a selfish fuck who has a Jesus complex. Because he mentioned he was being crucified, and he compares himself to Dr. King. He's like, this guy is such a narcissist.
He's a fucking whack job is what he is.
Yeah, he's just saying like this guy. So yeah, I think you'll enjoy him ripping him. And if anyone didn't hear from Howard Stern yesterday, if you hate Aaron Rodgers as much as I do, Howard Stern basically said, I don't even like football, but this piece of fucking shit, Aaron Rodgers, we can't ignore this. This guy is a liar. Yeah. And he went on, did like a 10-minute bit about how Aaron Rodgers is a lying bastard who should be suspended.
And he probably should. By the way, before this goes away on the chat feed here, I love this from Dented Fender. He said that the referee said to the Bears, I own you. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Hey, let me shout out my friend Vinny.
Vinny
says, yeah, Vinny in the house while listening to us now. I don't know if he's listening or watching on YouTube. He just sent me a message. And again, Vinny is one of the guys I can say conclusively. Let me say one more cool thing about Vinny before I get to my point. He went to high school with Ahmad Bradshaw. That was his boy too, like again from the Giants. Game-winning touchdown on the Super Bowl 46. But anyway, Vinny says, and he's a Kansas City fan before they ever won.
Mm-hmm.
Loyal Chiefs fan because he loved Marcus Allen. He liked Allen with the Raiders, and he went to Kansas City when Marcus Allen went to the Raiders. So he's a loyal Chiefs fan. He says, y'all definitely got cheated, bro. Something last night. That's from a guy that likes Kansas City.
Yeah.
That has no reason to tell me that.
Yeah.
Other than everybody knows it's true. Everybody knows it's true.
And does it bother you that Matt Nagy, after the game or even today's press conference, didn't blast the referees, even at the risk of being fined $25,000? Because to me, I think the players would respond positively to their head coach criticizing the officiating. Does it bother you that he didn't criticize the refs at all?
Far be it from me to defend Nagy. Maybe I'm just pulling one out of my ass. Maybe Pace told him not to.
Could be.
Maybe somebody told him not to. I don't want to infer that automatically Nagy was so tight with his own cash that he was like, I don't want to get fined. I don't want to do, maybe they told him, look, we know, Matt, we're going to get that letter on Tuesday that says we're sorry, or Wednesday. There's nothing you can do about it. So don't go out there and say anything. But maybe that's not what happened, but I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. I think that if my boss told me not to say something, that's what I would say at the press conference. I've been asked not to comment on that.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. And in fact, somebody just said that at a press conference. I'm trying to remember who it was. Some other, it was a player for the Steelers it's Ben Roethlisberger, was asked after the game last night, what's the status of your shoulder? Because he's got a shoulder injury. And his response, this is after the game, he said, Coach Mike Tomlin has asked us not to comment on injuries, and you need to direct all injury questions to him, which was a good response, as opposed to giving some, bullshit. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about, whatever. That's the way those things should be handled. Anyway, I want to play for you while we're on the topic of officiating. Justin Fields, there were 2, maybe 3 roughing the passer penalties on him that were not called. And he was asked about that at yesterday's press conference immediately after the game. And this is what he said.
Told me that he ran into me, which I thought is a late hit. So, if he ran into me after I throw the ball, I don't know. And I said, Big Ben just got that call, so I don't know why you can't give me that call. I just needed him to call it both ways. So that's what I told him. But, yeah, so that's the only conversation we had. It's it's a common theory, you know. The vets, they get those calls. I think Joe Burrow said something about that like a few weeks ago. Like, you know, once we get older and once we get, you know, to that time, we're going to get those calls. But being a young QB, you're just not going to get those calls. And you just have to face the fact.
Wow, did he say he said that to Correnti?
Yes, that he asked him, why didn't I get that call? Yes.
I'm so glad that he shared that. That's ballsy. He'll probably get fined for that.
I don't see why he shouldn't. He's just revealing a conversation.
No, I agree with you, but you know how the league is.
Yeah, sure. I agree with you. I understand what you're saying. But why is it that, and this happens in baseball too and in basketball, the superstars get calls and other players don't? Don't they all wear the same uniforms? Aren't they all playing the same game? Why are officials looking at the name on the back of the jersey before they decide to throw a flag or blow the whistle? I don't fucking understand that. It really infuriates me.
I agree with you, and that's why I've bitched to you off air and stuff about like Mahomes or Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis got Super Bowl 35 MVP for like 5 tackles. Didn't have a sack, didn't have an interception, and I'm pretty sure Chris McAllister had a pick 6. And Mahomes didn't deserve Super Bowl MVP when Kansas City beat San Francisco. It should have been, and I'm not saying this because he's with us now, but it should have been Damian Williams. And Peyton Manning didn't deserve the MVP against the Bears. It was Dominic Rhodes and Joseph Adai that the Bears couldn't stop, whether they were running or catching their little flare route, passes in the route. Both guys had close to 100 yards. Both guys had like 10 catches. Manning did nothing all day except the one pass to Reggie Wayne. But my point is, these guys, because of their reputation, get everything handed to them. They're MVP. Oh, God, you know, Mahomes completes 3 passes, and we have to suck his dick now. It's ridiculous. And it's the same thing that's an extension of that on the field. Oh, well, I don't know. Rodgers got hit pretty hard there, so we have to change the rule. Now you can't actually fall on him because Aaron's the one who got sacked. You think for a second if that was Jay Cutler, they would have changed the rule if the Vikings hit him? If Sue would have hit Cutler like that? I mean, Sue hit Cutler with some nasty shots when he was in Detroit. Did they ever change the rules for Jay? No, but he's not one of the guys that the league fucking worships.
Right.
So the guys that they like, that they've determined is the guys they market, those are the guys that get the calls. And to Roethlisberger's credit, he did go to 3 Super Bowls. He's won 2. He got like 150 calls to beat Seattle, but that's another story. The Seahawks were cheated against Pittsburgh in Super Bowl 40, if you all remember. Terribly. And I don't like the Seahawks, but the Steelers got away with one that night because they wanted Jerome Bettis to go out a champion. So they gave him every call to help. And that's not just like fucking QAnon talk. That go watch the game. And then they did deserve to beat Arizona. They had the big drive at the end after Arizona took the lead. And then, of course, the one time we want them to win, Green Bay fucking beats them.
Their recall is amazing. All right.
You're welcome to watch these games and challenge me on it for real.
Well, we'll do that. As soon as I want to do something with you during the off season where maybe we look at one of your games. I'll figure out a way to feed it through, and maybe YouTube will allow us to talk over one of the highlights of one
like
of those.
A mystery science theater thing.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. The Chooch is going to be involved in that one. He's a science theater fan. I see him nodding his head.
Vinny, real quick. Vinny says, as a Chiefs fan, I agree Damian Williams was the true MVP of that game.
Oh, look at that. Well,
about that?
It doesn't look like he's ever going to be an MVP of a Bears game. That's for sure. Not with Herbert and Montgomery back. That's going to be a 1-2 punch, hopefully for years to come, but at least for another season, because Montgomery's under contract next season, and then we'll see what happens. I want to play one more soundbite, and this is from this morning's press conference. And it has to do with Justin Fields. And I know people hate it when we play Matt Nagy sound bites here, but I thought this was good because it just gives us a sense of the progress that Justin Fields is making. Plus, you can also look at it from the standpoint of, boy, this guy's really sucking up to try to keep his job. He's desperately trying to convince Pace and or McCaskey that things are trending up. Things are going to look good and stuff. But anyways, here's Matt Nagy at today's press conference.
Growing up, you live for those moments, and you never know how people are going to react. And I said last night, that smile that I saw on his face, it was neat to see because it just gives everybody confidence. And it was almost like he knew that was going to happen. And then when you watch it on tape and you see kind of how it got started, how that drive went, you know, hindsight always 20/20. We say, shoot, we wish we would have maybe not scored so fast and given a little bit less time. But at that point in time, I think you all would agree that, you know, we want to score whenever we can and get touchdowns. So I was proud of him for that moment. I think that's a big moment for him. I thought for the game with him offensively, that he really, again, he grew with his decision making. He had several what I quote as special plays, and the one that stands out to me was the one down the seam to Jimmy Graham. That throw he made to Jimmy Graham, just so we're real clear, that's probably a top 3 throw in the NFL this season. With who he had in his face, the way he threw it, the accuracy, the timing, etc. That's a special, rare throw. When you see those throws, you get excited, and you know. So I thought that you feel that, and we have more explosives on offense. You know, we have more explosives. We had we're growing in that area. So those are the positive.
So that is.
Transparently, you're accurate. It is so. He's like, oh God, I've got to like wrap myself around Justin right now, because otherwise everyone's going to see that there's another 4-game losing streak, and that I'm unqualified for this job, and I should have been fired, as Tooch said like 2 years ago. Yeah, this guy's got to go. I almost wish that it was like the Matrix or something, and I could just suddenly be in an alternate reality where they fire him like tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
We're on the bye week. They just say, you know what? We thank you for your service. We're going to pay you for the rest of the season, but we got 7-8 games left, and we're going to try to win them with a different strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But I know they won't make that move, but fuck, they should make that move.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, last night's post-game show or after-game show called Bear Football, I predicted, I had no inside source information, but I predicted that Matt Nagy would be fired today. Obviously, I'm wrong. He had a press conference today, so I don't think it's going to happen now or at least until the end of the season. So here's my theory. Given that the Bears are sticking with him, at least for the foreseeable future here, this means that Ryan Pace is going to be the general manager next season.
Oh God.
Or it could mean, well, no, I take that back. This means that Ryan Pace is on the hot seat and won't be back next season. Here's my line of thinking. It's because why should they fire him now and then let Ryan Pace begin the new coach search if he's not going to be here next season? Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I still wish they would just go ahead and fire him, but maybe I could see the certainly the critical thinking that goes involved into making that assessment. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But I still wish that they would just say, you know what? We've got 8 games left. We can make a run at this. The NFC isn't necessarily so. I mean, if we're talking about winning division, that's a little bit tougher.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe Rodgers misses a second game. Maybe they lose again. I don't know. But Jordan Love, from all I can gather, didn't seem to be too impressive on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe, perhaps, you can get that the seventh wild card spot or the 6th one if you can put together a couple of wins, especially their quarterback seemingly ascending and becoming better, certainly better than, when he played Cleveland when we saw him together, or even Detroit. He's benefiting from this added game time. So maybe you can get 5-3 the rest of the way, or 6-2 or something. But if you're calling the same old shit over and over and over, I mean, what was it Sarah Palin said in 2008? It's like, if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig.
That's right.
I'm not a fan of Sarah Palin, but the point is, and not that she's wise in any stretch, but maybe she was wise to blow Glenn Rice. I'll give her that. I mean, if I was a girl, maybe I'd blow Glenn Rice too. But a future NBA star, Glenn Rice. But that's a fact, you all. If you're Republicans, I'm not making that up. But
I never heard that before.
Oh yeah. When she was an Alaskan sports anchor, they had like the Alaskan shootout, so like the colleges would come over.
Yeah.
And like the middle of the winter, and they didn't see a lot of black folk over there anyway. So she was like, that was her fetish. I'll say
Is this in her memoirs or something? Or where'd you get this?
No, it came out around like 2012.
Well, how do you know it's
laughed.
confirmable? That's verifiable.
No, it was it came out. Even Glenn Rice chuckled and said, "She's a good girl. I don't have anything else to say about it."
That
'Cause
doesn't mean that he fucked her anyway.
No, at the time when it came out, I was like, man, the Republican Party won't want her in there anymore. You know, they don't really like a lot of interracial stuff. But let's not get off on that. No pun intended.
Yeah, and I gotta ask you this quick question before it goes away again. Factor has asked this great question. He did it in one of the other shows, and I realize I'm interrupting your story, but I want to make sure I get this in. He says, he wants your answer on this. Do you trust Pace in hiring the next head coach, or do you have more trust in George and Ted hiring the right general manager? Which poison do you like better? I love that question.
That is a good question. If I had to put my money on one, I would say I would trust George, because George at least cares. And I mean, maybe ultimately he gets forced out like Michael McCaskey and they give it to the other brother.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he probably is feeling the fire on his feet too, because he hasn't had a lot of success since he got the gig a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I would feel more comfortable with them hiring a new general manager than Ryan Pace. Was it asking me if I felt more comfortable at Ryan Pace hiring another coach or them hiring a new GM? That was the question, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I would feel more comfortable with them hiring a new general manager. And furthermore, Pace is, like we've said many times now, he's been there since 2015, and he still can't establish an offensive line. Look at all these drafts that we've had, and you still can't sustain an offensive line. By the way, Kyle Long was activated from the PUP list.
I saw that.
Former Chicago Bear Kyle Long. But yeah, if you can't get a left tackle all these years in, and if you weren't happy with Charles Leno, you should have drafted his successor several years ago.
Bingo. I agree with that. And if you don't have any playmakers on the team, but you had one and didn't really realize them or use them properly, whose fault is that? So I talked with Greg Gabriel about this. Cordell Patterson is having an outstanding season, 8 games with the Falcons, and his stats from the wide receiver and running back position, 737 yards from scrimmage and 7 touchdowns. In 2 years with the Chicago Bears, 32 games, he had almost 200 fewer yards from scrimmage, 550, and 6 fewer touchdowns. And this, again, from the wide receiver running back stats position, just 1 touchdown compared to the 7 he has already in 8 games. So I ask you, why is Cordell Patterson playing for the Falcons? And why is Jimmy Graham, who has now 2 catches this season, or 2 or 3 catches this season, and he's making $9 million? Why is that? Wouldn't you have been wiser to cut Jimmy Graham? You got $9 million to play with. Cordell's contract is $3 million. That leaves you with $6 million left. You could have gotten somebody better than Marquise Goodwin and Demir Bird, these 2 backup wide receivers who rarely catch a pass.
Goodwin's coming along a little bit, but your point, I mean, Bird's done nothing. But I'm going to defend Jimmy Graham on this one, because it's not Jimmy's fault that they waited till week 9 to utilize him. I mean, I don't know I know he missed a game, maybe 2 because of COVID, but this was the first time they've attempted. He had 1 catch before last night. It's not his fault that they haven't tried to use him in the end zone. That's that bald fuck head coach again, who has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
But to your point, Patterson really wanted to stay with the Bears, and he told the whole world that over and over on Twitter that he wanted to be a Bear. So I get your point, is to say, like, you know, I would even say, as we've all said, that maybe you could keep Kyle Fuller and let Jimmy Graham go. But yeah, it could have worked the other way with Patterson too. So I don't know what the right answer is, but I don't blame Jimmy Graham. I think Graham's stats would be much better if he'd have been given opportunities.
Well, absolutely. And I think that Matt Nagy didn't know how to properly use the guy. It's interesting that Dave Ragone is the offensive coordinator at Atlanta. So he knows how to use Cordero Patterson. So to me, it's just to me, it's an exhibit of Ryan Pace making bad personnel moves. You know, I mean, we're paying how much money to backup quarterbacks? What is it, $9 million to Nick Foles and $10 million to Andy Dalton? That's wasted money that could be used on players like Cordero Patterson, who could be used on a left tackle, who could be used at other positions of need. This is waste. So,
hey, real quick, let me tell you this. I'm a big Bill Walton fan.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Bill Walton was great when he was on the NBA and NBC as the lead guy there doing the playoffs and the finals. He was great. I guess he's great now doing his thing for ESPN wherever they have him out at a college game or something. 2011, this is a Bill Walton tweet. Quote, Sarah Palin had an intimate relationship with Glenn Rice in the 80s. Rice tried to resist, but he was never one to stop anyone from scoring.
That's
so this is from the New York Daily News in 2011. Sarah Palin hunted more than moose in Alaska. The new book claims she and hoop star Glenn Rice had a bizarre NRA meets NBA one night stand.
That's gross, man.
She allegedly snorted copious amounts of cocaine and cheated on husband Todd. Anyway.
Oh gosh.
Let's not kick
I think
Sarah
it is time to unleash what's the name of that character in Pulp Fiction who's locked up?
Oh, bring out the Gimp.
Time to bring out the Gimp.
Time to bring out the Gimp.
There he is. The Gimp himself, otherwise known as John Santucci. How are you, brother?
Hello, everybody.
It's not one of Dan's eloquent introductions with the music production and stuff.
I've been in the background just listening and enjoying the show and putting the comments up.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. It allowed me to focus on Dan Aguirre's extensive recollection of what transpired in Pittsburgh.
Always a treat. I got hungry because they were talking about Chicago food.
I saw that in the chat.
I had to run and get a little snack.
There you go. Good. I'm glad you got back. Here's what I want to do, guys. I'm going to leave the show to you. If you guys can talk for the next 10, 15 minutes about the game or whatever you like, I want to take a look at that Colin Cowherd clip. And if it needs some editing, I'll be back with an edited version of that and then pick up the conversation wherever you guys are at. Okay?
All right.
All right. Away I go.
All right. So I have mixed feelings about the game, of course. I'm on like a delay. My mouth is not moving at the same time. There we go. All right. And, at the end of the game, when they kicked the 65-yard field goal, it looked like it had hit the crossbar below. And I thought that's like a perfect Matt Nagy ending, where it just comes up so short. We're 3-6, 33% win percentage. And I'll tell you, after 9 weeks, it looked like the offense was finally starting to get going. But my biggest question, Dan, was why did it take 9 weeks? Why does it always take so much time for a Matt Nagy team to get rolling? All right, I cannot hear Dan. So I'm monologuing. All right, Swanky's in the chat room. He says, Hail Mary would have been better. I kind of agree with that because you have the chance of getting an offensive pass, or have a chance of getting a defensive pass interference. So I think we lost Dan. Yep. So I'm out here. It's just the Tooch show. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen that. But I'll tell you, this was, of course, Justin Fields' best game. So if there was any doubts that we don't have a quarterback, that was all put to bed. I'll give you some stats here. Justin Fields completed 9 of 16 passes of 10-plus air yards for 225 yards and a touchdown. 10 plus, that's where the ball traveled 10 yards or more. I don't think we've ever seen a Bears quarterback do that. I can't remember the last time when we saw a Bears quarterback do that. Let's take some other of your questions. Wonder why they didn't try for a defensive pass interference sooner in the drive. Good question. That's Matt Nagy. I saw you guys talking in the chat room that Matt Nagy's press conference today looked like he was told he still has a job. I'd have to agree with that. I did not cut Dan on purpose. I don't know where Aldo left me here to run the show, so I don't know where Dan is. Let me see if I can get Dan back. Let's see.
I can hear you.
Okay. I can't hear Dan Aguirre, so I was by myself. Could everyone else hear me?
Telling me he wasn't Aldo.
Yeah, you weren't by yourself.
Okay.
Let me see if I can figure out what the technical issue is here. Hold on.
Yeah, I've been here the whole time.
Did you? Okay. I could not hear Dan at all.
Yeah, he says he's been here the whole time.
I know. Poor Dan. You're listening to me monologuing, probably trying to interject there, tell me to shut up.
No, I was just trying to no, I'm here. Can you hear me? I'm here.
You don't hear him, huh? Excuse me, John, you don't hear him?
I hear him, yeah. I hear him now.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't do anything. All right.
When you came back, he came back. When you came.
Oh, maybe it's because of my absence. All right. So
Yeah.
I'll just leave that on and you guys can continue.
All right. Sounds good. Don't remove any clothing. You're still on camera.
Can you hear me now, Tooch?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, did you hear my hear my stat regarding Justin Fields? 9 out of 16 of 10 plus air yards passing. He had 9 passes of 10 plus yards. So the strong arm, that was in evidence this weekend. I'm sure you had a good view of it from the game. Didn't it look a little different this game?
Yeah, he looks good, but ironically, it seemed like all the action was toward the opposite side of the field the whole night. But yes, again, he looks good. And one of the things I said to your point earlier when you couldn't hear me, I was saying that you asked why does it take till week 9 for his offense to show up, and I say in each individual game, why does it take to the second half before they show up?
There you go. Yeah, this team is so inconsistent. And this is his 4th year of coaching this team. You look at other teams around the league, and they have that consistency. Just they seem to fight. The Buccaneers, the Patriots, the winning organizations that they're so disciplined. I mean, I know we had a lot of penalties, a lot of the refs. There was a lot of BS calls. I'm not going to deny that the taunting call was BS because it's so subjective. That rule that's in the rule book, it needs refinement, in my opinion. And I was listening to Aldo and Danny Shimon and Tyler Ellis on an earlier show. And Aldo said that the NFL is rich enough to afford full-time referees. And I cannot agree more. They should have a full-time. These guys have other jobs. They're like financial advisors, pharmaceutical salesmen. They come out on Sunday and officiate an NFL game. That blew my mind.
It seems like Tony Correnti. Now, again, you'll have to cross-reference this. I agree. Like he was the head of officiating somewhere like the Pac-10 or whatever it's called. Is it the Pac-12? I don't know. I don't watch college football, but out west somewhere, and was fired because of his lack of successful officiating or whatever. It seems like he had to step down or go away because of poor performance in his job in college.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I was talking about this earlier today with a friend. The NFL should have full-time officials, and in the off season, maybe they come into work, 3 out of 5 days. The other days they're, physical fitness, conditioning, whatever. They're watching film, they're quizzed, they have, and pay them, a decent salary. There's no reason why these guys, the NFL can't pay them $100,000 a year to officiate a game. And then every call, I know that teams can send in video complaints of the referees' calls during a game, and the NFL office reviews it. The head of officiating reviews it. That can all be worked into this crew of NFL officials. But having guys, that it's not their full-time job, be officials, it strikes me as unnecessary.
I agree with the point Aldo's made it on here numerous times as well. Again, if you're going to have a superior product, then you just have to pay them to improve. And look, I'm not trying to be political when I say this. I know part of the reason that Tony Corrente will not get in trouble is because, and I'm not anti-union by any stretch, but I know because of their powerful union, nothing will happen to him. But that's the thing, like, they should be docked on their performances as well. I'm not saying that you have to publicly come out and stone him, but whenever it's egregious to that point, like, dude, he should be calling the worst game of the week next week with the least amount of people watching it, like a regional game that nobody gives a shit about. And he shouldn't be allowed to do the Bears games anymore either, because he's got this long history of fucking the Bears in big games, but nobody knows that.
I'm sure the Bears have probably sent complaints regarding him to the league office.
And I'm not trying to insinuate that he goes into it thinking like, I've been fucking the Bears for 2 decades and it will continue now. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy here. I'm just saying there always tends to be some inexplainable kind of weirdness with every one of his games that he officiates with the Bears.
Yeah. Yep. The reputation's there. The evidence. It's all there. Excuse me.
Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, fuck, not him. I told Aldo that last night. I swear on my mom's grave. Before the game, I was like, oh, no, Tony Corrente's the referee tonight. He could tell you when he comes back. I was like, this guy. And he's like, man, you've got this amazing recall. But I was like, but I'm not wrong here.
Nope. And for some reason, he's one of the top-rated guys, or looked upon with favor by the NFL. As being one of the top crews, or manning one of the top NFL officiating crews.
I'm just seeing a meme now that says, I'm calling yelling on the Bears. That'll be a loss of 10 points. It goes from the Bears to the Steelers. Also, first down from the Bears 5-yard line for Pittsburgh.
I tell you, there was a question. I forgot someone asked a question in the chat room was, do I think A-Rob is here next year? And I don't think so. I don't think A-Rob's here next year. But I don't know whether the coaches and the GM are here next year. I don't know. The Bears have never fired a head coach in midseason. Mark Trestman lost 50-point games, gave up 50 points to back-to-back games. He'll kept his job. Yeah, he only worked for the Bears, coached the Bears for 2 years. But the Bears are starting a team that fires coaches in midseason.
Yeah, I understand that. I was hoping against hope that they would just say something like, my mom's pissed off again. How George famously said that about Virginia, that she was pissed off at those 50-point games that you just referenced. So by God, she wants to make a move because, like all of us, we don't want to die before the Bears win again.
That was the word that Virginia was so upset, right? Of the back-to-back 50-point losses. My mom, George came out and said, right, my mom's so upset.
Oh, he said she was pissed off. That's a
right.
Quote.
She was pissed off. Yeah. My mom's pissed off,
I wish that she'd get pissed off now at this fucking guy.
Yeah.
If you're Virginia Hallis or McCaskey, you got to think, I'm 98. How many more seasons do I have? That's not even being dark or dour. I mean, she obviously wants to win one more before she goes. I mean, and we all want another one as Bear fans. So, I mean, let's try to get that for her. And how do you get that for her? You got to get Matt Nagy out of here.
Yeah, like I said, you and I have said a lot of times I wanted him gone after 2 years. We'd be 2 years closer into our rebuilding process, you know. But look, Pace. A lot of people say Ryan Pace is drafted so well, you know, and he's hit on some good players, but he hasn't put together a winning roster, though, you know. He just hasn't put together a good offensive line. The defense, it's okay, but right now it's, you know, it's on the downswing, going down.
And you know he's going to have his press conference this week where he actually talks, but he's not going to say anything. He's like Matt Nagy, where he comes out and gives these long-winded answers that don't answer the questions that he's been asked.
Yeah, they never say anything. They never say anything, whether it's Pace or Nagy. It's all a bunch of hot air. The best way for them to say anything is to put a winning product on the field, get to the playoffs.
And this is the third straight year now where they've had this excessive losing streak. Again, I think it was 4 or 5 games 2 years ago, 6 last season. Now we're at 4 this year, and you're looking at the Ravens coming in, and also the very lovely Heidi coming in for that game to Chicago to watch that. Heidi Zimmerman, shout out to her.
Yep,
but I mean, maybe we beat Baltimore. Look, Minnesota played them well, and it's at home, but still, I mean, on paper, we're not supposed to win. We're going to be underdogs.
Right, here we got the factor.
We're looking at a 5-game losing streak then on paper.
Yeah. Yeah, people are saying, Greg Gabriel said the team is still playing hard for Matt Nagy. I mean, the undisciplined penalties, you know, I know they were called 16 times for penalties and only 12 of them, you know, were enforced. But that kind of bad discipline it shouldn't be around after 4 years in a program. It's just,
how many times can they line up offsides? I don't mean like, oh, you tried to make a play and you jumped offside because you thought you had the snap count. They line up offsides.
Yep.
Like, who does that other than the Bears consistently lining up offsides? It's like, dude, I mean, and something no one else has said yet, and we probably all thought it, is I saw Eddie Goldman standing there a few times last night. He might as well just retire. Is he just not going to do anything?
Eddie Goldman?
Yeah. I just would see him doing nothing on the field every time he's there.
I mean, I wasn't focused on him, but I seem to remember him having a pretty good game. You know, he's been a force in the middle.
Maybe I've seen it from the stands. Then I kept seeing Quinn making plays, and I didn't see Eddie doing shit. I haven't seen him do anything all season.
Well, I mean, he did take last year off, didn't he? Right?
Yeah, I feel like he's taking this year off too.
Yeah, I want to go back to like Pace and his draft picks. He does find these guys like 5th round, Mooney and Larry Borum. Larry Borum has had 2 good weeks in a row where he last night held a TJ Watt to, you know, pretty much. Watt got his 1 sack. Of course, TJ Watt, one of a few players. He reached 60 career sacks in 69 games. There's only 3 players who've done it faster in fewer games. That's Reggie White, Derek Thomas, and J.J. Watt. You know, all probably Hall of Famers. I mean, Reggie White, Derek Thomas already in there. J.J. Watt probably a Hall of Famer. But in the week before, you know, he held his own on the line against Joey Bosa. So you have 2 good weeks for Larry Borum. You know, but Ryan Pace has neglected the offensive line for so long. Finally, we're getting some players in there, but we got Joe Mandel in the chat room, Danny.
He
says
I wanted to meet Joe when I was in Chicago.
Right. I know you didn't.
He was in Michigan with the family thing.
Right. Dalvin Cook's attorney released a statement on the assault suit filed against him today. We have not covered that today. I did not know that was going on. But as far as the plays, what struck me was that Justin Fields, man, made some just great throws and stuff. I mean, you talk the pass to Darnell Mooney and the coming across the end zone. Jimmy Graham's the touchdown that was called back. Great throw and catch. Allen Robinson on the sidelines. Man, some of these catches, I was thinking to myself watching the game, like those are plays that Aaron Rodgers makes. I hate to use the comparison, but that's what you want. You want a quarterback that can make those plays. You just don't want the douche that comes with it.
Exactly.
But you'll be happy to know that the NFL fined him as a token amount. They fined the Packers organization $300,000 today for violating the league's COVID protocols after an investigation wherein Aaron Rodgers and Alan Lazard were also fined $14,650. But
I guarantee he won't pay it. He will not pay it. Someone else will pay it for him in the Packers organization. He won't pay it.
Right. Other than that, I got to tell you, when I was first watching the game, it looked like Cairo Santos's field goal hit the crossbar, the bottom crossbar. But
that's all we needed was another doink.
Right. That's what I was saying. That's so Nagy. That's what I thought. I was like, it's a perfect ending for the game for a Nagy coach football team. Bad for the fans, and just typical Nagy trying a 65-yard field goal that. You get a doink on the crossbar. It just misses. We need a coach that doesn't just miss.
Matt Nagy's so bad as a coach. I honestly believe if he's fired, the only shot he has of maintaining a position in the National Football League is if Andy Reid, just because he loves him so much, gives him another shot. I don't think anybody else will touch him for anything. Not even the fucking tight ends coach. I don't think he's going to be a coordinator ever again unless it's with Andy Reid.
Yeah, he's not a head coach. He's barely a coordinator, and he's not a good coordinator. It was a bad hire. The guy, like I said, it's that after a year or two, I heard it. He has a phony laugh to me, Matt Nagy. I'm like, then, the first year, and he had Jordan Howard. He never got Jordan Howard going. He's like, you'd hear him on the sidelines. I promise, I'm going to get you going. He never did. He'd run the ball 7 times in a half. Just Jordan Howard never had a chance to get rolling. You didn't use any of your weapons. He doesn't put players in position for their strengths. To utilize their strengths. Got a question, Dan. Do you think the Bears will still make the playoffs from the Factor 1?
I mean, they're going to have to start stacking some games to get back into it. But in theory, you've got Detroit coming up, which I for one, never consider them an automatic win because they're very similar to us. And plus it'll be at their place on Thanksgiving, which we've done well recently at, but you got Detroit, you got another Packers game. You've got 2 with Minnesota. And then you've got Baltimore and Seattle. Is that it? Did I leave a game out?
We've got Seattle still, Baltimore, the Lions,
the
Vikings,
Lions, Packers, Minnesota twice.
Packers.
I mean, you're going to have to win 5 or 6 more games somewhere. And on paper, I'm not sure that they're there, but fuck the paper. Let's go. Let's try to get some games. Like, I could see them sweeping Minnesota. Minnesota's not overwhelmingly daunting. I could see them beating Detroit. And maybe you steal one from Green Bay finally. I don't know. But even if they don't, you could win 3 more games there.
Yeah, we have the Giants and Cardinals and Seahawks.
The Giants is a winnable game. Who knows what Seattle will be doing? I know Russell Wilson's coming back, but that game is like week 17. Who's to say he's not hurt again? Or maybe they'll be so far behind. Maybe they're not playing for anything. So that might be a winnable game despite what you would think of as an arduous trip out to Seattle with the 12th man, all that shit. But saying they do have some winnable games. I mean, on paper, the Baltimore one looks tough, but we've won the last few against them. But we had won 3 in a row versus Pittsburgh as well. The Green Bay one's tough, but all the other ones in there look like, maybe they can win them. But the defense has to play better. They've got to get some pressure, and they can't just let the other quarterback just stand there. I don't care what anybody says. You have to take some opportunity. The way we were criticizing the offense for maybe we should have thrown a Hail Mary. Well, maybe the defense should try to blitz some. I'm sorry. You can't just let a guy who can't move and Ben Roethlisberger, and Ben is going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's not anymore. Like Father Time, whatever Brady's doing, whatever dick he's sucking, like the devil's dick, whatever, to stay so young, that hasn't helped. That has not happened for Ben. Ben can't move. So you go after him and put his big ass on the ground, but they didn't even try. And you're going to have to play better defense. I mean, you have to say the offense did enough last night to win. It was the defense who let us down, coupled with the officials. But for God's sakes, get a stop. San Francisco didn't punt one time the week before. Not once.
Yeah, it was a winnable game last night for sure.
And so was San Francisco. They should have won that.
Hey, guys, I got
Aldo
breaking
back?
news.
Yeah.
Adam Schefter is reporting that Minnesota Vikings running back Dalvin Cook is the victim of domestic abuse and extortion. There's pending litigation, according to his agent, Zach Hiller. Have you guys heard this story?
Yeah, I saw on Twitter we were about to go on air. I don't know who allegedly abused him. I thought, damn, was he beaten by a woman? But I mean, that's not fair for me to even to think that. But
well, I got the information here, and now this woman is suing him, and this is kind of the response. This is from Dalvin Cook's attorney. The evening of November 19th, 2020, U.S. military sergeant First Class Gracelyn Trimble broke into the home of Dalvin Cook and assaulted him and his 2 house guests. Sergeant Trimble and her attorneys are now attempting to extort him for millions of dollars. While Mr. Cook and Sergeant Trimble had a short-term relationship over several months, she became emotionally abusive, physically aggressive, and confrontational, and reportedly attempted to provoke Mr. Cook. Sergeant Trimble damaged his vehicle on at least 2 occasions, assaulted him, and attempted to stop him from seeing other women. The state of Minnesota applies the Castle Doctrine as it pertains to self-defense, which means when an intruder enters your home, you have the rights to defend yourself and your family or guests. The right to self-defense includes the use of deadly force based on the nature of the perceived threat. Almost a year ago, on November 19th, Sergeant Trimble unlawfully and without the consent or knowledge of Mr. Cook entered his residence and started to destroy property, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, I can go on here, but apparently there was a hostage situation. Sergeant Trimble tried to, again, assault a female guest of Mr. Cook and blah, blah, blah. What a messy, messy, messy story this thing is. Holy cow.
yeah, I mean, I don't wish that on anybody. Oof. I mean, not even Rodgers.
Well, I'm surprised that you said that because apparently a lot of people are wishing it on Aaron Rodgers.
Well, Cook can't do anything in that situation, even if the lady's a badass and is a member of the military and is trained and cut and everything else and in shape. Like if he hits the woman, then then he's Ray Rice basically.
Yeah,
he's not allowed to hit her. But if she's fucking him up, I mean, because she's a trained badass, I mean, he's in a lose-lose situation.
Yes, he is.
So
4,000 Clover says she sounds like a keeper.
Yeah, she sounds like she should have been playing the girl Terminator in Terminator 3.
You've had relationships like that, right, Dan?
No, I haven't. I've had some women lie and shit. I've never had anyone like try to bulk up and beat my ass. And I've never hit a woman either. So there's never been any domestic abuse in any way.
I wasn't accusing you of that.
No, but there's never been on the other side either is what I'm saying. So thankfully, no, I haven't been in the middle of any shit like that.
And by the way, thanks to Joe Mandel who sent me that information. It's a fascinating story. And what Joe is most concerned about is how that's going to hurt his fantasy value. Right, Tooch?
Now we can't hear Tooch.
Tooch is muted. That's why.
Oh,
exactly. Yep. Joe probably has Dalvin Cook on 10 of his 100 fantasy teams.
Exactly. I can't keep up with my one team, and he's got 100 teams. All right, I did edit together this Colin Cowherd thing. It's very long, so I trimmed it down to 4 minutes, and I thought what he was saying about Justin Fields was interesting. So there's about a minute of that, and then 3 minutes on him talking about poor Aaron Rodgers. Here it goes.
Justin Fields averaged 17 yards per completion, more than any quarterback in this league. Okay, that's big boy quarterback. That's throwing the ball down the field. That's not Trubisky tricks, smoke and mirrors, all that nonsense that fools people into believing a dude can play. By the way, Jordan Love, 10 yards of completion. And that's with a better receiving core. That's with a better offensive line. That's with an offensive coach that everybody thinks is great. So do the Bears have the right coach? I like Nagy more than you, but I don't know. Do the Bears have the right GM? I got my doubts. But you have the quarterback. Well, Colin, it's just one game. No, it's not. We've all watched these music shows, American Idol, The Voice. It doesn't take long to spot big-time talent. You can see a hack and you can see a star, 8 seconds, 15 max. Would you rather be Pittsburgh this morning that got a win but has a dinosaur at quarterback with no succession plan? Or would you rather lose that game, have a losing record, and know for the next 12 years? You're watching what's happening to Aaron in Green Bay. I got my guy for 10, 12 years. I'll take that every day of the week. They found their guy. By the way, he's doing it with a bad offensive line. He's doing it with a coach you're not sure you trust. Against a great defense, wasn't a lot of smoke and mirrors, man. It was just make the throws. We're not going to trick people. Make the throws. And he did. Almost enough. Well, here's the latest story from people.com. That's Hollywood. It's just down the street. A source close to Rodgers says he is unhappy with all the criticism. He's now, quote, being crucified for it. He knew some people would disagree with him, but people he thought were friends are turning on him. Oh, that's interesting. His friends. You mean the ones he ghosts when they don't placate and defend him at every turn? I've known multiple people through the years that thought they were friends with Aaron, and he ghosts them when they don't defend him. Yes, being a friend of Aaron has always worked one way. It's about Aaron. So shocking this morning that his friends turn on him. Maybe they're embarrassed by him. This article also suggests Aaron may retire. That I have no idea. But he did say he was 50-50 right before the season, so I wouldn't put anything past him. But this is how Aaron has always seen the world. I am the sun, everything revolves around it. He compared himself to MLK. Oh my. And he feels crucified. You mean like Jesus? If Peyton Manning stepped in it, or let's use an example recently, Drew Brees stepped in it. He got pounded for a day. And then people started lining up. White teammates, black teammates, coaches, front office, broadcasters. People started lining up behind Drew Brees. Why? Because Drew Brees doesn't call out his franchise for 20 minutes. Drew Brees has worked his entire life to build relationships. So when he stepped in it, and by the way, we all do, it's hard. You have to build friendships. And friendships are even. And a friend can disagree with you, and a friend can be critical of you, and you don't ghost them. That's how friendships, real friendships, work. Not in Hollywood, of course, where people pretend to be something, like maybe your friend. Aaron's big in Hollywood. But we all step in it. And Aaron stepped in it. But now he can't figure out why he doesn't have this alliance of people that are there to defend him. Where have you built it? He spent 20 minutes calling out. Remember that press conference? Calling out the Packers front office. Shocker, Aaron, they're not here to put their arms around you today. I said it when he said it. Would Brady do that? Would Peyton Manning do that? Would Eli Manning do that? Would Drew Brees do that? I mean, I understand Russell Wilson gets mad at his franchise, but the minute Seattle made a couple of moves, we joked on this show, he was back to go Hawks. I love my team. I love my coach. I love my GM, Mr. Optimism. With Aaron, it's passive-aggressive shots at coaches, it's calling out the front office, it's ghosting friends, and surprise, when you step in it, nobody's there for you.
Wow. Powerful stuff.
I'll tell you what's even more powerful, and I'm so glad there are no women with me in the room. Last night after the game, Sylvester had me eat some of his chili.
Jesus, I thought you were going to say his ass or something.
No, man, it's fucking chili beans. Like, I've had to mute the mic over and over and over because I'm like, damn, another fart? Another fart? Another fart? I've been farting since 8 p.m. Eastern. I mean, I can't stop at this point. Thank God there are no women here.
I had a bad case the other day. I was farting from 8 a.m. to about midnight, man. It was awful.
I wish I could just shit or something to make it go away. You know?
King Zing is asking, what did Breeze step into? What was that situation about?
Oh, yeah, he made a reference that was talking about before the season about how, like, he loved the flag because his grandfather fought D-Day or whatever. And they're like, man, that's cool, but you're not acknowledging, like, what's happening to African Americans today by romanticizing about a war that's almost 100 years ago. And, like, you should be able to empathize with your teammates a little bit more. But he apologized, and like Colin said, his team was like, no, he misspoke, and they defended him and said that he's not a bad guy, he's not a racist in any way. So that's the point Colin was making, is that no one's out here like, oh God, Aaron's so misunderstood, because he's not. He's just a fucking dick.
Yeah. You know, I do. This is the softy, the bleeding heart liberal in me, I guess. I just sort of feel sorry for Aaron Rodgers.
I don't.
I know you fucking hate him. I mean, you would put a knife in his chest if it prevented him from entering the field in a Packers jersey, right?
No, I wouldn't necessarily wish someone else. No, I don't want to sound like I'm inspiring violence. No. I made a joke about the 1993 French Open. In case you all don't know, Monica Seles was stabbed there by a fan of Steffi Graf, right. Which isn't funny, but it's just like, wow, like, you're going to beat Steffi, I'm going to come stab you. So I made the joke when we were at the game. It's like, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed if someone just said, fuck you, Aaron, and did a Monica Seles. But it's a joke. It's a joke.
Well, but man, isn't it sad that the guy has no self-awareness of himself, that he's alienated practically everybody? You know, he's had a lot of high-profile, beautiful women that he's had relationships with.
And a high-profile male relationship.
That is right. He apparently lived with a Green Bay Packers administrative assistant, I believe it was, and
Kevin somebody.
Yeah, and they lived together for a while, and then when Aaron moved out, that person went public and said, you know, a bunch of things about him missing my love, but
but he said the main thing was that what was his name, Michael Sam, that was drafted by the Rams and was out as a homosexual.
The guy from Missouri, yes.
Now, allegedly, according to Kevin, Rodgers told him that whole summer that he was going to come out as bisexual and tell everybody that they were dating because it was like politically, you know, the thing to do because Michael Sam, and like, so he wouldn't just be standing there with his dick in his hand. And then when he didn't do that, that's when they broke up. And then Rodgers ghosted him.
Oh, and so interesting how often Colin used that word, ghosted.
He ghosted his own parents.
Yeah, that's the sad thing. I learned about that by watching The Bachelor. His brother, Jordan Rodgers, was on, and they had, you know, several episodes where they addressed that basically he ghosted the family, and it's come out afterwards that it had to do with religious reasons, that the family was very religious. Tooch, you're laughing? Why are you laughing? Tooch?
A question here. And then the answer.
Okay. The question was, what are we missing to be a legit, consistent playoff team? And then PJ responds, a coach. But
that's good.
Yeah, and And probably very true. Let's get back to the subject of the Bears because that's the much more important thing. Do you think that with this roster in 2022 that a different head coach could get this team to the playoffs? Obviously, there's going to be some changes to the roster, but the basic nucleus being the same. You're going to have Khalil Mack. You're going to have Justin Fields, et cetera, et cetera. What do you guys think? Do you think that, or do you think this team needs an overhaul because too many key members of the team are aging?
Who's going first? I didn't want to step on Toots if he was going. I'll jump in since I got the mic on. I think regardless of who the coach is, they need to do something in the secondary, and they've got to work on the offensive line. But you can address that with the new general manager with the kind of draft overnight, like the '83 Bears draft, where you just build your fucking championship in one draft, essentially. Not saying that can happen all the time, but you might be able to get a real offensive line and some corner help or safety help with the right general manager making the right picks. So I think if there's some way you keep Khalil Mack despite a salary cap number next year, and the defense can hang in there and you get some help on the back end and you block better, then maybe they can win. Why not? Because I think, and again, I could be wrong, but I honestly think Rodgers is gone after this year with Green Bay.
That
and then
seems to
it's
be the
back
consensus.
to life, back to reality, like that song from what was that? So who sung that song from like 1990?
Back to reality. I know the song.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Yeah, back to life, back to reality for the fucking Packers fans. I don't want to like put my foot in my mouth and Jordan Love be the next Hall of Famer, but I don't think so.
King Zing says Supreme Court may shoot down vaccination mandate. Then what happens to Rodgers? I guess he's fucked. One of the things Colin said, and I think I might have edited it out, is that Rodgers says that he's contemplating retiring, that he would go there. He told People Magazine that. So do you think he's bullshitting again? Because he is. Yeah, right.
He wants roses thrown at his feet at all times, like he's Eddie Murphy on Coming to Fucking America.
Yeah. Now that he didn't get that Jeopardy job, he's got nothing. And his commercial endorsements are drying up because people are starting to drop him. There weren't any Aaron Rodgers State Farm commercials this weekend. There some hospital company that had an endorsement deal with him dropped his ass. Of course, he's not recommending you go to the hospital to get a vaccine. He's recommending you smoke some herbs or some shit like that.
That also happened to Kirk Cousins.
That's right. That's right. It happened earlier this season too. So anyways, I want to get Tuch's comments on what do you think about this roster? You think a new coach can come in? Let's say if you could get your dream coach to come in and coach the Bears, you think that there still needs to be major additions on the roster, which you don't have a lot of resources to get those major additions?
Well, I think a new coach could definitely get more wins with the talent we have on this roster. That's, that wouldn't be hard. But there are some aging veterans whose, best playing days are probably, behind them, that aren't going to be contributing as much in the past. And maybe it's time to replace them with younger talent. But I agree with Dan. I mean, one good draft and you could, turn this ship around. So say, you definitely need to get rid of the head coach and probably the GM. That's just my thought. I don't think either of these coaches were prepared for the roles that they were given by the Bears upper management.
You don't think John Fox was prepared?
I'm talking about Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Blues Brothers.
Right. Neither of them were prepared for the roles that they were given by, the Bears management. Matt Nagy wasn't ready to be a head coach. I don't think he was ready. I don't think he's I don't think he's a coordinator even.
Yeah, I mean, he really isn't. He called 6 games for the Kansas City Chiefs. He had some good results on those games, but the key game, the playoff game, he totally screwed that up. So
I'm not sure how he got the job. I always go back to saying that, like, Ryan Pace says, well, our wives got along really good. That might have been the deciding factor. I don't know. Ryan Pace, he'd never been a GM at any level. In fact, I think he was the youngest of all the candidates.
Wow.
That were interviewed by the Bears. And then as far as Aaron Rodgers, you said something like, I wonder if he had gotten that Jeopardy gig, if he would have come back this year. He doesn't need the money.
That's for sure.
He probably could make a comfortable living doing Jeopardy, not have to put his body through all the hits, the punishment, getting ready for the season and stuff. But Rodgers, I think would benefit from a change of scenery. I don't know if Green Bay would want him to leave, because I don't think Jordan Love is any answer behind him. But I think of or if Aaron Rodgers were to go somewhere, New Orleans would be a great spot. They don't have a good quarterback, but I think he can really thrive there with Sean Payton.
And Pittsburgh apparently is in the hunt for, perhaps I should say, is in the hunt for Rodgers. We'll see.
Denver too.
Denver.
Denver would be another good spot.
Yep. So there's good teams out there that Rodgers could maybe win a ring because they might have better coaches and better roster than the Packers currently do. By the way, Chubbs has made us aware that there's breaking news. I'll go to Chubbs' favorite news website, CNN.com. The NFL issued fines to the Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers and receiver Alan Lazard after its review found the team and its two players did not follow league COVID-19 protocols. The Packers were fined $300,000, while Rodgers and Lazard were each fined, drum roll please, $14,650, according to the discipline schedule negotiated by the NFL and NFL Players Association. So basically, that says a slap in the wrist for Aaron Rodgers, and life goes on.
Did Chubbs just get here? Because Dan and I talked about this while you were out, the fines and stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Well,
Tooch actually broke that news.
Tooch, you're the man. Why didn't you interrupt me? I'm over here reading shit you guys already know.
I just like to hear you talk.
My sexy.
Yeah, my point on that one, Aldo. I said someone from the Green Bay organization will pay that fine. Aaron Rodgers will not.
See, I don't know if that's true, because according to Coward, he's burned so many bridges. I mean, that passive aggressive approach that he took towards Packers management during the offseason, I think they're saying, fuck you, dude. We're sick of you. You just cost us $300,000. I'm going to pay your fucking $15,000 fine. I don't know.
And how about the fact he hasn't won anything in 11 seasons?
Yeah, I mean, well, and I don't blame that solely on him.
He's played bad in those championship games, with the exception of the Seattle one, which was fluky for them to lose.
Yes, exactly. That game was a victory. You got to thank Julius Peppers and that big ass tight end who went down for that onside kick. I forgot his name. God bless him.
That's the best thing Julius ever did outside of Carolina.
Yes, exactly. I would love to remember the name of that tight end. He goes that his assignment was to block the guy from the opposing team who's rushing towards the loose ball. That was his job, but instead he sees the ball, he goes up for it, hits his fingertips, live ball on the ground, and the Seahawks recover the onside kick. They tie the game, goes into overtime, and the Packers are eliminated from the playoffs. And Aaron Rodgers' dream of the second Super Bowl ring is forever gone. I love it.
As do I.
All right. Have you guys talked about movies or anything? Should we cease talking sports for a minute?
We would like to. I would like to. The Bears are on a bye this week.
That is correct. And
right?
then the Ravens, correct.
So we won't be able to unless Matt Nagy does something stupid over the bye week. We won't have anything to rip him about. This is
I'm sure there'll be some stupid stuff.
the bye week is one Matt Nagy can win.
Without doubt.
But yeah, if you guys want to talk movies, I'll be here for that too.
And just I know that I'm a delirious Bears fan. If this offense starts to play well, and somebody on the Greg Gabriel show, I forgot who it was, said in the chat, did you notice how the defense started playing better once the offense started playing better? And I think that's true. I think that the defense was inspired by the play of Justin Fields, and they locked down the clamps on pretty much on the Steelers in the second half. So what happens if, and I got the old schedule here, I didn't put the L on the Steelers game, but what happens if they come back and they beat the shit out of the Ravens at Soldier Field? 4 days later, Thanksgiving, they beat the shit out of the Detroit Lions. Who knows? Maybe in week 13, Kyler Murray is still not back, and they beat the shit out of the Cardinals at Soldier Field. Then they got the Packers game in Green Bay. Wouldn't it be time for the Bears to beat Green Bay in Green Bay? I mean, if they come back out of the bye, they could potentially win 6 games and get into the playoffs with a 10-6 record. What do you guys think? Am I drinking too much? The answer to that is yes.
Yes.
You guys are so pessimistic, both of you guys.
I don't mean to be. It's usually a cliche. You got to put one foot in front of the other.
You got to win one first before you win.
Yeah, let's just try to beat Baltimore. Let's just try to get through the Ryan Pace press conference, which he'll do exactly like Nagy and not say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore isn't invincible.
I totally agree. It's not like their defense is not the old Ravens defense.
Right.
And, with proper scheming, so you want to talk about a guy you're not going to blitz a lot, then I don't think they would be blitzing Lamar Jackson with his speed, because you miss him and he's gone. You're going to keep 7 guys back. You got to get to him with a 4-man rush. They don't have great receivers outside of Marquise Brown. So I don't know.
As their radio announcer calls him over and over and over, Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood Brown. Why Hollywood? Is he from LA?
I have no fucking idea. Their announcers suck. And
I think he is from LA, but
I was trying to listen to that game when I was driving on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, well, let me go. No, I can't listen to Minnesota's announcer. I hate that Paul Allen guy. And Baltimore's, their announcers suck too. So I couldn't listen.
Mudmuck Theo Journal says we have the ability to beat everybody, every one of those teams. It's just the coaching. And Stephen,
I agree with that.
Stephen Nagishi says I've been drinking. So he's right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still on a high. That game yesterday was so emotional for me. I had so many ups and so many downs, but the feeling I got most of today was being so optimistic about Justin Fields. I don't see why he couldn't really generate some explosion in the second half with the offense, and the Bears could consistently start scoring 24 to 27 points, and the defense hold teams to 17 to 21 points. I think that's possible, guys, but I'm not going to convince you. So let's talk about movies.
Well, I'm not opposed. I was kind of saying that earlier when you were working on the cut for Cowherd, was to say, we were breaking down the schedule. I was like, you got the Giants. You never know how Seattle's going to be real late in the year when you go out there. You got the Giants. You got Detroit. Right. You got Minnesota 2 times. I mean, there's some games on the paper that you should be able to win. But the problem is you're 3 games out, right, under 500 right now.
Chubbs is saying that his neighbors think he and his son are crazy because they were screaming loud as fuck. I went crazy on that touchdown pass. Chubbs, how old is your son? Not that I'm going to stalk you or anything. I just was interested in knowing. But yeah, man, I don't know, guys. I wish you guys were as excited as hopeful as I am. I just feel like this is the turning point. And what would you? Would you sacrifice Matt Nagy being fired if the Bears could somehow squeeze into that final wild card spot?
Not if it means they're going to play dreadfully the way they did against the Saints last year, where they don't even show up.
Yeah.
So if we made the playoffs, Matt Nagy gets to keep his job, basically, right?
I think so. I think it'd be really hard to fire him. Make the playoffs 3 out of 4 years, and they fire him. What coach would want to come over here?
That's a great point. I mean, you look at the last 2 weeks, the scoring has been up. It scored, 27 points this week. Last week against the 49ers, what they have, 22, 24?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, before that, we were scoring, 17, 14 a game. So, but I had said earlier while you were out, Aldo, why did it take till week 9 to get there? Why is it?
See, but I have a simple solution to that. It's a rookie quarterback. That's why Matt Nagy desperately wanted Andy Dalton to play, because he felt like all of that stuff that Justin has been learning the first few weeks, how to recognize blitzes, how to recognize different defensive coverages, all those things that, hey, if you're going to be honest, you got to admit that Justin Fields did not play well for a number of those games.
Yeah, Boomer Esiason said the same thing, I think, right?
Exactly. Yeah. What is so promising now is in that second half, he played flawlessly, and he showed the type of promise that his progression could explode now. And maybe, the fact that it happened right before the bye week is a great thing. He said yesterday, I'm going to take a few days off, regenerate my body, and then come back to work. Again, the guy says all the right things when it comes to preparation and mental attitude and so forth. So I just feel like there's a chance here, man. I watch these games with the desire of let's win every fucking game. And if we can't, then let's fire the coach. There's a big disparity there.
Well, there's that question in the background too of who's calling the plays now? Is it Matt Nagy or Bill Lazor? I know, we're supposed to believe it's Bill Lazor, right?
I think it is. I was saying that earlier. I think at this point, Nagy knows that if he interferes with either the offensive or defensive play calling and he loses, that's just more ammunition for the people at Hallis Hall. And there are some who want him gone. And the alumni association who are constantly in George McCaskey's ear and want Nagy's gone. And that's basically all the alumni. They're fed up with this guy. So I think that he's kind of happy being the rah-rah guy on the sideline, being in all the meetings and saying, yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's a good idea. And managing the clock on Sundays. I think he's satisfied for that because it'll mean him, not having to pack his bags. What do you think, Dan?
I don't know. I feel like one way or the other, he's going to want credit for this. Anything that happens positively, he wants credit for. Anything that happens negative, it's not his fault.
Well, hey, if we win, shouldn't it be some of his, shouldn't he get some credit?
That's an arguable point for certain.
I mean, if he's smart enough to keep his hands out of the cookie jar, meaning calling plays and other important decision making, if he's smart enough to do that, then he deserves some credit. And if the players go out and play hard, isn't that important, Tooch?
Yeah, if only he had done that his first or second year, where he was if he had just been a head coach.
I agree with you.
Instead of waiting until his fourth year to do head coach things, do what a head coach is supposed to do, rather than trying to do everything.
Yep. I think Trubisky might still be here. They might have picked up his fifth-year option.
Yeah.
But that remains to be seen. All right, let's talk some movies, guys. What have you guys seen? What do you guys like? What do you guys want to share with others? Tooch, let's start with you. What do you got?
Well, I just saw the Tom Hanks movie called Finch on Apple TV, and I enjoyed it. It was good.
Tell us what it's about.
Tom Hanks, there was some sort of, I don't know whether it was a nuclear war or whatever happens, but he lives in his workplace where he worked. He was a robotics and artificial intelligence engineer. it makes it seem like he was kind of like the old man of the staff. He programmed artificial intelligence, robotics, and he lives in his workplace. Has like a kitchen and shower and stuff where he lives. It's a big office building, and he's got a dog and a little tiny robot, and they go out scavenging. The little robot picks up stuff for him off the ground, everything's radioactive, so he wears a suit, and the sun will burn your skin and stuff. So he's like, there's danger out there. And he's got a little dog, and he knows he's dying, and he builds a robot helper like larger than the little rover that he had, and with the intent to take care of his dog after he passes away. I know it sounds stupid, but it's the big robot's like a big child. And he's like teaching it stuff, and it's funny. There's like some funny moments where the robot does like stuff where they're like a bad kid, stuff like it learns and stuff. It's very fast.
I have not even heard of this movie.
Okay.
Have you heard about it, Dan?
I have not, but I sent you a text. I want you to see if you could.
This is secret stuff.
And it's one of those feel good movies and stuff, and it was all right. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. But that's the last movie I have seen.
What about you, Dan? Have you seen anything worthwhile?
I watched an old horror movie right around Halloween that I had never seen before, from '71, and I saw like Stephen King, somebody else with maybe not Tarantino, but somebody else a prominent person in film said that it was like their favorite horror movie and that it scared them. And I was like, well, fuck, man. Maybe it's David Lynch. Now that I look at Wikipedia, but it's called Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
Yeah, you sent me that. I actually saw the trailer to that. It looked good.
Yeah, it was fairly good. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. Are you going to watch it?
Probably, but go ahead. I don't mind the spoilers.
Well, you don't know the whole time what his is she nuts? It's, and you don't know they're actually vampires, but you don't know that till later. Like you think that she's going crazy, but no, that she's not nuts, and she had just gotten out of some kind of institution where you take 30 days to try to regain your mental faculties and rest and shit, and so she's out, and they're like, she's seeing all this stuff, and she thinks she's hallucinating, and people are dying, and she's kind of not sure if what's real and what's not, but it is all real, all this weird shit that she's seeing, but they're vampires though. So
well, I'm still gonna watch it. You didn't make it sound very interesting. Just kidding.
No, I'm sorry. You're right. I probably didn't do a good job into it. I apologize for that. Right. For a good old movie, it's got a good score, and it's a '70s film, so it has a real nice flow to it. I mean, I think if you like older movies, and I know you do,
yes, I love them,
that this one's pretty good.
Okay. All right. Before we got a special surprise guest that we're going to bring on in a second. This was the secret note that Dan sent me. But before we do that, I want to let you guys know about a really strange film that I saw. It's an art house movie. So it's gone around the Sundance Film Festival and these other festivals and won awards. And I saw it on demand. It's called 9 Days, and it's a strange story about a man who interviews 5 different people to take over, to be born again. He's interviewing their souls so that they can go to Earth and be born as babies and become people. So does that sound strange enough for you? So he's basically a guy who been given the job of supplying humans to the Earth. And now where these people come from, they're already fully formed as human beings, but where they come from, they're in some nether world or something like that, but they come to his home, they go through this interview process. I got the trailer here. Let me play the trailer, and it might make a little bit more sense. Here it comes.
You are being considered for the amazing opportunity of life. If you are selected, you will have the chance to be born in a fruitful environment where you can grow, develop, and accomplish.
Am I dead?
I wouldn't say you're alive or dead. Are you the boss? I would say a cog in the wheel.
How long is this process?
If you make it until the end, 9 days. Your senses will become unbearably sharper and stronger. It's your new beginning. You'll never remember me or anything else that happened in this place, but you still be you.
Every single day, someone hurts someone else. Every single day, someone takes someone else's life.
Why are you focusing on that?
Why are you not focusing on that?
You've been here a few days where you've lived every second.
You afraid?
Of what?
9 days.
9 days.
Hey.
It's a very, very strange film, but if you're into taking chances on movies, you might want to take a chance on 9 Days. Winston Duke.
I'm going to level with you, Molly. Opioids have a 97%.
Get rid of that. Winston Duke is he's been in a number of Marvel movies. So Tucci, you might remember him from some of the Marvel movies that he's been in. The African American guy with the glasses in the trailer.
I don't remember him from Marvel, but he was in that Spencer Confidential with Mark Wahlberg, where Mark Wahlberg was teaching him how to throw a punch. He was a mixed martial arts fighter that he was his roommate.
Ah, okay.
And then he was in that movie, the Jordan Peele film with I forgot, is it called Us or They or Them? It's like
he was
with
in
the
Us.
scissors.
Yes,
he was the husband.
That's right. That's right. I forgot that. Anyway,
The scissors.
Hey,
go ahead.
I have one thing I want you to watch too, if you haven't, and I don't want to spoil it. I think you'll like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You still have Showtime?
Yes.
You should check out that documentary on Attica.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's good shit. They're talking.
I heard
about
that was good.
That were affected. They were prisoners at the time, and some people that were like, sons or daughters of people that died there, that kind of stuff. But the things that the police got away with, and I'm not anti-police, as you know. Like I said, I've got friends that are policemen. Like they sent in the state police and made all these people get naked, like butt ass naked, and walk through shit and walk through broken glass. And
Absolutely, it was fucked up, no doubt.
yeah. So the documentary starts out a little quick. Like it doesn't really say like who the mastermind was or what started it or what the catalyst. They just say, well, this happened, and it slows down and starts giving you like maybe some background like a half hour in. I don't like how they edited it that way at all, because it just starts right from the beginning with the riot. Like give us some background on what the prisoners were upset about and things like that early on. But anyway, it's definitely worth your 2 hours if you want to check that out.
All right. Well, keep talking behind the mic there, Dan, and introduce Sylvester to our
audience. So Sylvester Barner, he was the guy that went to the game with me last night. He's the reason I'm farting all night tonight. He gave me some of his delicious chili last night after the game. Like I said, we played Little League together. He was he graduated in 96. I graduated in 99. So he's a little bit older than me, but he's known me over 30 years. In fact, his son went to high school with my nephew. So it's just I've known him forever. So you could probably get a kick out of that by asking, like, what's this motherfucker like? Because he's known me since fucking Bush was president, the old Bush.
So, Sylvester, welcome to the show. How is this motherfucking like?
I don't know if I can totally describe it. Danny's great, man. He's just he's a computer. That's what I can tell you. He's a computer.
That is for sure.
Mhm.
That is for sure. He's got a memory unlike anybody else. But we're much more interested in has he had any homosexual advances on you?
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding.
That would be a great question. No, I've stayed at his house since I've been young, and no advances, none at all.
All right. That's disappointing, Sylvester. Very disappointing. I thought we had a scoop here. Anyway, so you guys first met when you were kids. What was that friendship like?
I used to pick on him, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I used to pick on him. Like I said, he's a little bit younger. We started out playing Little League baseball together. Big guy. I was the big guy, so that's how things go. But
can you
eventually
kick his ass? Could you kick his ass back then?
Yeah, guarantee it.
And Dan won't argue that. I'm sure he won't.
No, man, he's a fat motherfucker when he was young. I mean, he's still big. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, he went to the Navy and shit. I mean, like he's shorter than I am, but that doesn't mean shit. I mean, yeah, I give him a lot of credit because when we were playing Sandlot and stuff like that, early on, he's already playing ball, and you there's a period of time where you kind of have to get hit a bunch before you're not afraid to get hit anymore.
Yeah, true.
So they had to beat the shit out of me for I was like, oh, okay, I'm not worried about this shit anymore, So, and the Sandlot, when you grew up or we grew up, I mean, basically that's all you did was play sports because there was nothing else to do.
Right.
Nothing.
We weren't in the city or anywhere. We're just in the sticks. So like it was like baseball, basketball, football, and that's all you did. I mean, it's all you got. So you go outside and like I said, it's all day. You're playing sports all day. So yeah, they beat the shit out of me like in a good way to where it toughened me up to where I was like, man, I'm going to catch the ball. Doesn't matter if you hit me. I'm not going anywhere. But if you need me to catch this 10-yard pass, I got it. I was the big version of Tom Waddle. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's the scoop right there. You wouldn't believe Dan's fucking hands. Dan has some hands on him, right? I'm trying to tell you.
Interesting. Now, and did you see Sylvester? Did you see Dan play baseball? Because he was telling me he was a pretty good right fielder.
He had already the senior league when I got good. But go ahead, Sylvester. My bad.
You said right field? Well,
yeah, that's where they had me when I was making all-star teams and stuff. I was batting cleanup too, but the first year you saw me, I was 9. I still made the all-stars that year, but I sucked. Like I came into my own the next 2 years.
Looking at Dan don't look like a right fielder though, does he?
No. Put him behind the plate.
All of that was for batting. I mean, you put the good kids on the infield, the kids that are mobile in the infield when they're little like that, and everybody else, if you can bat, you just in there to be in there.
There you go. Sylvester, what position did you play? I
played third base and catcher.
There you go. When you play third base and catcher, you got good hands.
Yeah, so. So,
Sylvester, what do you do for a living now?
I actually work at West Virginia University.
Oh, okay. And so do you ever get like strange texts from Dan at 3:00 in the morning like I do?
Yeah, I still get those type of texts.
Like, one time he sends me a text like at 3:00 in the morning. He goes, "This is the anniversary of when I fucked some chick and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "What the hell?"
Absolutely.
You remember this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I get these texts all the time. Yes, I do.
That's hilarious. Do you ever send them texts, saying congratulations, man? Tell me about it. You got any pictures? Because that's what I do.
Well, I get the occasional pictures. I do.
Man.
But the pictures I get is kind of questionable because he's questioning me on what he should or shouldn't be doing sometimes. So I don't get the real good shit. When he on the good shit, he don't send me the good shit.
Well, you got to listen to the show more regularly because we have a weekly feature where Dan shares a sex story from his past. Dan, you got anything you want to share?
Okay. I'll give you one. How about that? Breaking news, I guess. I've had sex one time after Brandy, because I think Brandy's probably listening, or at least she was earlier.
Okay.
And the lady was, I've never had this before. It's interesting. It's not, certainly I don't have a fetish for it, and it's not what I prefer, but it was so different to me that I was just like, wow, I wasn't expecting it. I'm not gonna say I was like fascinated, but I don't know what the right terminology or the right adjective is. So this lady happened to be Jewish. And first off, I never really met anybody, being from West Virginia, I never met anybody that was really Jewish. I've heard a lot of right-wing radicals who just said they hated the Jewish people just because, they were right-wing. No offense to the right-wingers who aren't crazy like that, but I've heard a lot of anti-Semitic shit over the years, but I never really met a real Jewish person that goes to a synagogue and stuff. And so she was like, I was asking her the questions like, man, so you think Jesus was just like a fucking David Koresh kind of guy, right? And so we went through that kind of stuff early, but I guess because of her religion, I didn't ask, but she had hairy armpits and hairy legs.
Wow.
And I'd never been with a lady like that. And again, I prefer the lady to be like a lady. I mean, not that that's anti-lady.
Right.
I think I would prefer a clean-shaven lady is what I'm saying. But it was interesting. I just wasn't, I didn't know what to, it was so different that it, at the time, for some reason I dug it at that minute, but that's certainly not what I prefer. But yeah, that was kind of, I guess I didn't see that shit coming. No.
So tell us, did you have cunnilingus? Because
no, I did not. I did not. It wasn't that I'm not, as you know, opposed to it, but it just didn't happen.
You just didn't want the hair on your teeth.
Well, I don't mind vaginal fur, but no, I don't know. It just didn't happen for whatever reason. So
now, Tooch and Sylvester and me, we're all three of us are older than you, Dan, right? So I'll ask you guys. You guys remember the days, Tooch and Sylvester, you guys remember the days where you used to date women and it was hair everywhere, right? I mean, you go below the waist, you could find hair on thighs, you can find hair, everywhere. Do you miss those days, Sylvester? I'll start with you.
Absolutely not. My first couple of times, my very first actually occasion on trying that, it was as much hair as I got on my face right now. So no, I'm more the clean shaven guy now.
There you go. Tooch, what about you?
Well, I grew up on that, so it doesn't bother me. Do I care? I don't care anymore. I'm old. I'll take anything these days.
The girl had leg hair like a guy. Legs were hairy, and she had an armpit fur like me too.
That's one of those 3 a.m. texts right there that I got right there.
Trump says, what the fuck? I'm sorry, but I'm 39 on Thursday. I've never pulled down pants and seen hairy thighs and ass. Chubbs, where were you stationed at, Chubbs? Either. Really?
I've seen hairy pussy, don't get me wrong, but I've never seen hairy legs and hairy armpit. I mean, I've seen hairy armpits when I was married. My wife didn't feel well because she had black hair, if she didn't shave every day, it would start to get a 5 o'clock shadow kind of thing. I saw that, but she had hair, man. She had hair like an NBA player at the foul line, she had armpit hair, man. There's no other way around it.
But back in the 70s, some women, I should say, just if it grew there, it grew there. They weren't gonna shave or groom it or anything like that. So that was accepted back then. And so I'm not saying that every woman had, so much hair down there that it would spill over into their thighs. But I did run into an occasion or 2 or 3 where it was man, this is like Sherwood Forest.
Absolutely.
Man, this is an outstanding conversation. I never thought that we'd be talking about hirsute women from the 1970s before.
Like I've told you before, the cool thing about seeing a hairy vagina to me now, if it were 1970 and we were all having the same conversation, obviously it wouldn't be via the internet, but however we would have this conversation in 1970, it may be just in a real bar together. I'd be like, man, every pussy I see is so hairy. Like, I want to see just one bald. Maybe that's what I would be saying. But now, like, everybody's bald. So, like, the occasional, like, you know, it's like vintage, like, throwback pussy. It's like you got a pair of Jordans from 83 or something. You know, like, these are from when he was at UNC. Wow, look at this old school pussy. That's kind of what I think. But again, that differs from, like, damn, the leg hair and shit. Like I said, I didn't know what to think about that. Hey, I let me put you on hold. You all talk. My engineer at the station's calling you, like I told you would.
Sure, go ahead. Sylvester, you were going to say something.
Well, I was just thinking every porn movie I watched until I was 18 years old, everybody had hairy pussy in them.
Yeah,
so
right. That's common.
That's a gold standard.
Right. And if you talked about, you know, liking a woman shaved down there, you would be made fun of. Oh, you like little girls then and stuff. You left her and stuff. So it's something that didn't really even, something that we didn't even question. It was like wrong to think it would be shaved down there. Somebody wants to know, when did Viagra become a big part of my life? Soon, Bear Truth 9. Very, very soon. In fact, I'm going away this weekend. It could start this weekend. My wife and I are going up to Galena for 4 days of frolic in the woods.
Nice. You're almost to Iowa.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, we might take the trip over to the casino right across the river there from Galena to Iowa.
And Dubuque.
I'll give you a call and let you know. Sylvester, so now that Dan is away from the microphone, he can't hear anything at all that you're saying. Tell us the truth. Is he really gay?
Well, looking at that picture you got of him, I can see your concerns.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's seen that I've chose that. That's great, Sylvester.
But yeah.
Did you guys ever pick up chicks together? You know, I've got a lot of friends. I was never into, you know, some of my friends would go out and have like orgies with girls. I'm like, no, I don't want to see your penis entering another woman. I would stay away from that. Did you and Dan ever encounter group sex before?
No, not at all.
You had to think about that.
Well,
tell us the truth. He's not here.
Well, I'm just saying, Dan is he doesn't care much about anything nowadays.
That is true.
So I mean, if he could have sex with a woman in front of me, no problems, no questions asked.
There you go. That's a true friend right there. Not that I want any friends like that. By the way, are you aware of this picture, Sylvester?
Yes, absolutely.
Did you take this picture?
No, absolutely not. He sent this to me. He sent this to me as soon as he got it, and very proud of it.
It does take a certain, you know, comfort with your private area where somebody, because he's told me that he didn't expect this to happen. The guy grabbed it, and that's Dan's natural reaction.
Yeah.
It looks like he's having an orgasm.
So as you can see, like I said, yeah, I could be over Dan's house. Dan could have a party. He have women over there. Sex in front of anybody wouldn't bother him whatsoever.
Wow, man. Me, I don't know. My dick would shrivel up, and I'm out of here, guys. I don't want to see you guys. That's hilarious. Everybody. Chubb says that everybody keeps it trimmed down there nowadays. Yeah, I think that's true, man. You know? The Factor says, I thought the guy behind Dan was his ex-wife. Oh, That's not nice. I know you're kidding, but it's still very funny. Ashley, she says, okay, but no one talks about guys who won't shave and expect us to. Wow, that is true. So, Sylvester Tucci, you guys shave down there? You guys keep it trim?
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
Fucking hey, Tucci, I know you don't.
Sometimes, if it's summer, yeah.
Yeah.
In the winter, I'm lazy.
When as soon as I learned that my penis looks bigger when I've shaved down there, I've been shaving every day.
Yeah, no landing strips or nothing. It's got to be bald.
That's right. You can fucking. It's like eating a corn dog down there. What else is going on in the chat room here? PJ says, I wish we could send and receive pics on here. PJ, all you got to do is go to my DMs on Twitter and send me pictures of all the naked women you have. So, Sylvester, are you a married man?
Yeah.
You don't sound too happy about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you asked me a question earlier about Dan and everything that goes on when we hang out. So, yeah, I'm married.
So, happily married with kids?
Yeah, I have 4 kids, all of them in college.
Wow. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
That's not cheap, brother.
No, hell no.
I sent 2 to college, and I'm hoping they pay me back so I can retire.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That's absolutely the goal right there.
Yeah.
There you go. But you must be proud of your 4 kids. That's awesome, brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're the joy of my life most of the time. The other time, I could choke all of them the hell out. But that's life.
PJ, you can post those pictures on Facebook. Friend me up, and I'm anxious to see them because I want to masturbate tonight. No, I'm just kidding. Sylvester, so you're a football fan, but you're not a Bears fan. Tell us about your experience at the Bears Steelers game last night.
It was pretty good. I mean, we were a little high up, but the crowd was great. It was nobody belligerent in there last night. Fucking game ended up being pretty good. But yeah, it took a little time for me to get Dan back into the game because he was he had already condemned Nagy before the fucking opening kickoff. So it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, he I it's weird because Dan can be very, very negative when watching the game, right? I mean, sending me all of these negative posts, not just last night, but in other games, fucking defense. Oh, the defense is going on that again. Oh, fucking Nagy. Oh, fucking this. And it's like, dude, a little optimism wouldn't hurt, man.
Well, everything you get, I'll probably get to. And we'll go back and forth. And even with last night, it was when they went down early last night. Oh yeah, it was tough getting them back. But it just ended up being a great time last night. It was a great time at the end of the day.
I'm showing pictures of where you guys were seated. This is video, Dan. So did you get a nosebleed while you were up there?
No.
Oh, Dan's back.
I'm back.
What happened, Dan? Did you have to turn on the emergency broadcast system thing?
Now the engineer is fighting cancer, right? So he's not doing well. And I don't know exactly what his medical condition is, but he thought he fixed it. We had a station off air, and he said he got home and he said, there's all kinds of bleed over. He said, turn that shit off. Just kill it till tomorrow. I'll fix it tomorrow. I can't come back in. I don't feel well tonight. So I just helped him make sure that you got off air, because he said there's just a lot of bleed over and it's unacceptable. He just said, I'd rather have it off air than have it bleeding over into the frequency.
Wow. So it was having its period. It was bleeding over.
Yeah. But anyway,
we
you all go ahead.
Sylvester. We just lost him.
Oh, well, that's no good.
Well, I think his phone was giving out or something like that. So hopefully he'll pop back in because
he's at work too.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's probably or he was talking about his wife because I asked him if he was married and stuff. So he might have gotten a call from his wife.
Well, yeah, he's been with Monica. Like Monica graduated with me. So he met Monica when he was a senior and she was a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been together ever since.
Wow. That is
so
nice.
Monica would have been like 14, 15, and he was like 17, 18, and he's born in 78. So they're still together.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Ashley, is it Ashley? Ash Lashy. You know her, 1313. That's Sylvester's back.
Yeah. She likes horror films and stuff.
She loves well-shaved men too, according to her comments in the
well,
the
yeah,
chat.
I like to shave my own junk too, by the way. So I get it.
No, well, and I sent you that Manscaped thing. So you've been using that thing?
I mean,
no.
Not so much. Like you can't use that on your dick, man. Because for one, I don't want hair on my dick that long that it could get off there. You know, like you might use it for the taint, you know, but if you keep it close, there's not a whole lot that can do with, you know.
Shit, I've been using it on my dick. Maybe that's why I got all the scuff marks on my dick.
You're supposed to be able to use that for everything, man. Everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Is he back?
Yes, Sylvester is back.
I got 10 and 15 minutes max before I have to leave.
All right. Well, why don't you guys talk amongst yourself? Tell us the secrets of your sex lives or anything like that.
Well, he's still married, man. We can't be jumping in too many things here.
Well, his wife is not listening, so you could tell us.
So it doesn't matter. I can't put any heat on him, man. There's a bro code on that.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
So you were asking about the stadium, though. I don't want to interrupt there. What were you asking?
No, I just wanted to get his comments on what the experience was like at the field at what's it called again?
Heinz Field.
Stadium or Heinz Field?
Heinz, I can't believe they're named after a ketchup, but I know that's the biggest industry there now. So what was it like? And I would imagine you two big guys nobody was fucking with you guys at all. Sylvester, you weren't wearing anything Chicago related, right?
No, I wouldn't do that.
What were you wearing, Sylvester?
I was wearing red yesterday. I didn't want to wear black because I didn't want nobody to confuse me.
Yeah.
I mean, my natural colors are blue and orange, but it is what it is.
Again, he's a Bronco fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's right. What do you think about the Broncos? Are you a fan of Vic Fangio?
He's not.
No. Why not?
Shit. What kind of problems you got in Chicago, man?
No offense, huh?
None whatsoever. Brought in Teddy Bridgewater. What is he supposed to do?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. I mean, right now, we can't move the ball. We gave up our best defensive player. Defense did play good against Dallas this weekend, but Dallas just basically beat themselves. So overall, I'm looking forward to next year already, and we're just halfway through the season.
The Factor wants to know, what do you think about the Broncos not drafting Justin Fields? You got a close look at him yesterday. What do you think? Sylvester, that question was for you. Can you hear me?
I kind of lost sound right there for a minute.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we're back. If you can hear me, look at the question on the screen, Sylvester. It says, what do you think about the Broncos not drafting?
I'm actually good with that. As I like them. I actually like them more now. I told Danny when y'all drafted him that he was going to be way better than Trubisky. I already knew that from the jump. Unlike Danny, I watch college football. I study college football, so I knew you was getting a better product this time around. I'm happy with Surtain. You know, he's a great corner.
Outstanding.
Can't seem to stay healthy, but right now, but we're all right with that.
Yeah, but you would rather have the cornerback over the quarterback. You rather have Surtain over Justin Fields, huh?
Well, at the time, maybe not at the time exactly, but at the time we're looking to get Danny's favorite player,
Aaron Rodgers.
So yeah. So I mean, you go with the product that you know is good already and take your chances. But there's even still a chance we might get him next year. I might be all right with that.
Yeah, well, be careful what you hope for, Sylvester, because that guy's an asshole. But don't.
He absolutely is, but he puts up numbers.
Yes, he does. He's a great quarterback. Sylvester, go ahead. Final thoughts, Sylvester.
Well, I was telling Danny last night, looking at watching the game, looking at all the questionable calls last night. I went back and studied it again today. Y'all caught a bum rap last night, and I don't have a stock in any on either side, but y'all caught a bum rap last night.
Sylvester, what do you think we should do to the referee if we run into him in the street? This Correnti guy, do you think we should kick his ass, or do you think we should take him hostage and maybe the NFL will give us $15 for him? Or what do you think we should do?
If I was him, I definitely wouldn't vacation in Chicago.
That's good.
Not at all. Yeah. I got a good history on him and the Bears last night, believe me. So yeah, I went vacation in Chicago, and overall,
I know he doesn't go to New Orleans anymore. I know Correnti doesn't vacation in New Orleans anymore.
What's crazy is I made this a valid point last night talking to Dan.
Mm-hmm.
The thing was, Fields is not going to get calls just because he's so athletic.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a while before Fields gets calls. You look at athletic quarterbacks. I was talking about what's the name from Baltimore last night. He doesn't get those type of calls either, just because he can run fast.
Yep.
So it's going to be a while before he gets the same treatment as anybody else gets, but it's going to come because he's lightning in the bottom.
Yep.
Y'all's future is looking real bright right now.
Oh, well, thanks for saying that, man. That made us feel a lot better, especially since Dan didn't have a very good sex story tonight. Just kidding. Sylvester, we're going to let you go as we're going to close the show here. Hey, you're welcome back anytime. So let us know when you want to come down and we'll talk shit, okay?
All righty, man. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you, brother.
All righty.
That
all right,
is
man. Take care.
Sylvester. Where's he from? West Virginia, right?
Yeah,
yes,
he grew up with me, man. Same place.
Nice, man. He's a good guy. I can see why you guys have been friends for a while.
Long time, man.
While you were away, he did tell us about that, mutual masturbation thing that you guys did together one night.
What now?
No, he's a good guy. It was strange. I asked him if you guys had ever had sex together with other women and so forth. Tooch, did you understand his response? Because I got the feeling that kind of left the door open that maybe something did happen, with multiple sex partners with Dan and Sylvester in the same room or something like that.
Oh, definitely.
Is he still on the line?
No, I said goodbye to him.
I can't answer that because he's married.
Okay. The truth is out. Well, I want Sylvester back next week because I'm going to get it out of him.
How was that?
I don't think so.
How was your trip to Pittsburgh?
Cook's got a problem with the lady.
What are you going to say, Tooch?
I said, how was your trip to Pittsburgh? What did you guys have some beer or food at the game?
I just ate a hot dog. That was it. And I had a soda. He drank and just like a big Bud Light, but his mom's a Pittsburgh fan again because we're from that area, in terms of everyone here is usually Steeler fans. So he just bought a beer because he wanted to take the cup to his mom.
Ah, nice.
The souvenir cup.
Right.
Who did the driving?
I drove all the way to Morgantown, which is 3.5 hours, and he drove from there to Pittsburgh, which is like 45 minutes, and then Pittsburgh back just to give me a break because I had driven the whole way.
Yeah.
So yeah, he drove a little bit, which I appreciated, because he's the one that had to fight through the parking garage and all that.
Yeah, that's a pain in the ass.
It was. We were on the 7th level too.
Holy fuck.
So he paid for the parking before we got there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really close. It was like a quarter mile from the stadium. But like I said, by the time we got there, it was full. And we were in the 7th of 10 levels.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to walk up that motherfucker too. And I know that lactic acid was building up in my fucking thighs. So I was like, by the time we got to the 7th, when I was winded, I was like, man, I'm ashamed. But I still got it, you know.
There you go.
I still made it. But yeah, we got to the vehicle, and I guarantee you, we didn't move for almost 45 minutes.
Mm. Hey,
just in line.
Wow. I hate that. See, I had such a great fucking seat to the game yesterday. My fucking couch.
Exactly.
Saw all the replays. Going to the game, I still enjoy it, but I don't know, man. Sometimes the experience is a little too taxing. Everything at home is much more relaxed, and as soon as the game is over, I have to worry about the fucking 2-hour commute, 3-hour commute, whatever. Anyways, there's very interesting conversations going on in the chat room. Apparently, from what I caught here, Stephen Mee is a videographer. He shoots pictures and video, and he's recruiting people to be in a porn movie. Do I got that right, Tooch? Have you been following this?
I didn't catch that. I know they're asking about what he's filming and stuff, but I didn't catch the porn stuff. I think they were just joking about that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's too bad, because Dan has talked to me about wanting to be in a porn movie.
No, he has not.
Dan, $10,000. Would you do it?
Nobody wants to see my body, man. They'll leave it out of there. Hey, but real quick, let me deflect and tell you that initially when you sent me this message, I hadn't heard it.
Which one?
But I heard Debbie the cum lady on Stern. I heard it.
Yeah. Okay. So just some context for people. On Howard Stern's show, he went off on Aaron Rodgers, and Dan sends me all the subjects that were covered on the show, and one of them was Debbie the cum lady, and I told Dan, that's the story I want to hear. I don't want to hear about Aaron Rodgers. So what's the deal with Debbie the cum lady?
Debbie the cum lady has a fetish. She doesn't care how big the dick is. They had some guy on there that has this world-renowned small penis. I forgot his name. What difference does it make? But he's literally got like 2 inches hard. And she was like, I don't care, man. She's like, her fetish is she wants the guy to come in her mouth. And that's what she said. She'll blow anybody. She's like, I just love, I'm not going to say it and have you have that on me outside of context, like have me saying I enjoy it from her perspective. I'm not saying it. But she said that's what she likes guys doing in her mouth. And that's better than sex to her. And Howard was like, I don't get that, but yeah, she said that if the guy is unable to shoot a big load, she's not interested. And she told the guy with the little dick, she's like, before I do it, I want you to not masturbate for at least 2 weeks. So you have a buildup, and I want you just to explode in my mouth. And I was like, damn. Yeah, but she has a fetish for guys ejaculating in her mouth.
Wow. And on the Stern show, they've had so many different people over the years with some of the strangest fetishes. I remember the one guy who really got off of being vomited on by women. You recall that, guys? Tooch is looking at me like,
yeah, that's horrible.
That's gross.
It was actually on the E! Show, and they blurred out. I don't remember how they blocked it out, blurred it out, whatever. But they edited it around when she did it. Where they brought in some hooker or someone, and this dopey guy really got excited by this woman vomiting on him. So, what about you guys? You guys into any of that kinky shit?
I'd rather be dead than have someone vomit on me.
Yeah, that's the
if
worst.
I'm not a dad or something, then okay, if it's the child, but beyond that.
You guys ever taste your own cum?
No. And on that note, I have to go to work. So.
I was going to say, before Dan leaves, nobody wanted to see Ron Jeremy's body. He made 1,000 porno films.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
That is so
The
true.
Hedgehog.
That's right.
That is true, I guess. You're right.
Yeah. Dan, just your appeal as a person would make it interesting for people to watch you have sex. And besides,
I don't know about that.
You say you are the king of cunnilingus, so we would want to.
No, I didn't say that. I mean, I enjoy it, and I think Brandy said that.
Well, we could film that, and maybe do like an instructional video or something. Do you do the alphabet like Sam Kinison used to say? Just do the alphabet.
I've done the alphabet, but I don't want them to catch on to it. And know what's going on, especially if they know the bit. Then I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Now, when you do it, do you start at the letter A, or do you sometimes pick up like with M?
I don't know. Like that's the middle of the pack. Pardon the pun with the Green Bay. That's like the halftime kind of move. That's not. You don't start out with that. I mean,
does Dan know what an Eiffel Tower is? That's what they're talking about in the chat room. It's some kind of sex.
I
don't know what that is. It sounds like it would involve shit, though.
Yeah, that's what French smelling shit.
I don't want any shit on me either.
All right, you get out of here. I don't want you late for work because people are depending on your life and death responses to stuff. So
that is true. So you all be well. And guess what? Tooch and I are doing the show next week. Is that right?
That is right. I will be coming back from Galena next week. So maybe I'll join you in the middle. But yeah, you guys are totally in charge. And I'll wherever, if I'm in transit, I'll be listening to you guys and excited about both of you guys sharing your sexcapades. Because you got no Bears game to talk about. So I would imagine you're going to talk about something provocative.
Oh, I'll come up with something. I've got some ideas.
There you go.
That'll be fun.
Get out of here, and Tooch and I will close the shop.
All right, gotta go. See you all
Good
later,
night, Danny.
Okay, amigo.
All right, bye.
That is the great Dan Aguirre.
I could use a weekend in Galena too.
I bet you could. I bet you could.
Yeah, I love Galena, man. The downtown is so cool. Just fun to go shopping, restaurants, bars.
Yep. For those of you who don't know, Galena is in Wisconsin, not too far from Iowa, right?
It's Illinois, Galena.
It's actually, yes, you're right. Ulysses Grant. So, and it's just effing beautiful.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe you're in Illinois, all the hilly areas. And when you go to that downtown area, they got all the cutest, greatest little shops. In fact, that Mike Ditka jersey that I got back there, I found that in one of the shops at Galena, and it was like $40, and it's an authentic Ditka shirt. I don't know how authentic, but it's a beautiful jersey. So you find the greatest stuff. And the resort that we're staying at is a spa, so we'll be getting massages.
Eagle Ridge?
Yeah, Eagle Ridge.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's nice. I stayed there before too.
Oh,
I have a Galena story for you if you want to hear it real quick.
Share your Galena story.
I went to a coworker's wedding and it was in Galena. So my son and I drove out there, and my son must have been like 10 or 11 at the time. And we went, it was in the summer, and they have summer sledding. Mm-hmm. So they have like this run with like fiberglass, like a luge, and you get in these little carts, and my son and I were racing, down. He was in one side. There's two tracks, and they weave in and out. You're in this little tiny cart, and racing down. It's like a fiberglass luge chute. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I was racing. I had to beat my son. I can't let it beat me. And I wiped out near the bottom and got scraped all over my calf and my right here on my arm. Just like all the skin was gone.
Oh no!
So I had to go to the wedding with a giant bandage on my arm. I couldn't. I had to come back and lay in the bathtub, with my arm and my one leg out. But they have. At the resort, this was Chestnut Mountain Ski Resort, which is in Galena, and it's they have that thing going on in the summer. You can go up there, eat at the lodge and stuff, and they have a medic at the resort. I'm like, what the hell? It's like, this happens all the time. I'm like, what the f? It's like people they wipe out. We're that fast.
Well, it's funny because
I had a picture, man. This all gone. It's like raw.
Do you have any
But,
pictures of that?
I do. It's in my phone somewhere way back, like from years. Or it's on Facebook too. But
Cool.
I'll send it to you or play it for the next show. Locate
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
It's disgusting.
Because I had a somewhat similar incident at Galena. I was playing golf at Eagle Ridge, which is just, they got 3 courses.
The wedding was at Eagle Ridge.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful facility and 3 great courses. The most famous one is the one called the General. So we're playing in the General.
Nice.
And for some reason we're on the golf carts and it's early in the morning. It had rained, and so the trail was a bit slippery. And so we're on our golf cart and we drive past hole number 7. We just didn't notice that it wasn't properly marked or whatever. So we go uphill, and then when we get to the top of the hill, it says hole 8. And so my buddy says, "Oh wow, we must have drove right past hole 7. Go back downhill." So we go downhill, and all of a sudden I fucking start hydroplaning, man.
Oh no.
The golf cart now is like going 40 miles an hour downhill, and I'm pumping brakes, and this is going to be a fucking disaster. And so I'm thinking, should I fucking jump out of the cart before this fucker crashes? It's going downhill and we're going into the wooded area and stuff. So I stick my left leg out. And so I'm trying to decide, jump, stay. And so I stay, and my fucking leg got ripped, man. You can still see the scars around there. And I finished playing the rest of the round because it's $115 to play around the golf there. I'm fucking gonna play. And there was blood everywhere, man. Blood fucking everywhere. Anyway, that's my stupid little story.
That's if I know you mentioned you said you're gonna go into Iowa. And Dubuque is right across the river from Galena.
Right.
Nice little town. If you and your wife go across there, ride the funicular up to the top of the bluff.
Okay.
They have an old cable car. I don't know when it was built. It's great. It's like wooden, and it goes up the bluff. There's a little ice cream shop at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Take the cable car up to the top. You get spectacular views of the Mississippi River Valley, like for miles. And you can see the casino down below.
Sweet.
And it's great. It takes a while to get up to the top, but there's houses up on the bluff. They have freaking amazing views. Their homes up there, all looking out on the Mississippi River. It's beautiful.
Thanks for that tip. We're definitely going to do that because we're actually going to sit down tomorrow and kind of map out what day we're going to do the spa, blah, blah, blah. Not going to play any golf. I don't want to risk hurting my other leg. All right, Tooch, why don't you let people know what you're working on, where people can find your gambling site, and blah, blah, blah.
Right, on Twitter, giving out free plays just for fun and, building my account and stuff. And I'm doing, of course, the Maximum Ed Sports Wagering Show with my partner Anthony and a bunch of special guests, Over and Under Girl, other handicappers. We had David Bierman from ESPN on not too long ago, and
nice.
The stream team starts up with Aaron Mikulski and Sarah Mars, and we're going to be doing reviewing, or actually setting the table for the Wheel of Time with Rebecca from Reading the Pattern, she's been capsulizing Wheel of Time. She'll be helping us set the table for people like Aaron and Sarah who've never read the books or don't know anything about Wheel of Time. And that starts at Amazon. I think it's November 19th. Yeah, I think it's the 19th.
Yep.
So it's like the Amazon stab at Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Magic and intrigue.
I hope it's half as good as Game of Thrones. It would be nice.
Yeah.
What just started? Oh, Dexter started. So I have not seen the opening episode, but I heard that the reviews are somewhat mixed. I'm hoping they can salvage what they left behind at the end of their final season. That was awful.
One of the worst endings, right, for a TV show.
Fucking awful. And you said that you don't watch Succession on HBO, correct?
I started it and I was enjoying it. My wife didn't get into it, so it's kind of up to me.
Okay.
I have been watching Foundation on Apple TV and Invasion. Both of those are on Apple TV. I'm enjoying those. any of those shows.
Yeah, I think the chat, the chat room might be more interesting than us what we're talking about.
Oh, for sure. I forgot. Well, when you were talking movies, I forgot. I saw a movie I never saw for the first time. It's called Cedar Rapids with Ed Helms and John C.
Yeah.
John C. Reilly and what's that guy's? Isaiah Whitlock from The Wire.
Yes.
And it's a great cast. Anne Hesh, Kurtwood Smith, Sigourney Weaver. It's a great cast.
Yeah.
If you get a chance to watch it, it's hilarious. It's like it's about a short time at a convention for insurance salesmen. And it takes place in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. That's really funny. Ed Helms is like a guy who he's never left his hometown. He doesn't know anything about anything. He's dating Sigourney Weaver, who was his like 7th grade teacher. It's like, so it's funny. I had never seen it before.
I wanted to see that movie. I'm definitely going to check it out.
It's funny.
All right.
I enjoyed it. If you get a chance to see it.
And I saw something else recently, and I can't remember the fucking title of it. So I'll talk about it next week or in 2 weeks when we come back. It was the kind of movie I think that Dan likes. Dan likes a lot of the 70s, 80s, 90s crime pictures, and this one really felt like that. But if you get a chance and you're in the mood for something offbeat, 9 Days, the film, I ran that.
It looks like my kind of movie. I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
I like those.
I think you'll be intrigued by it.
Yeah, I love those kind of movies.
There's no anal in it, by the way.
Anal.
So Ashley might want to see it.
Those are good.
If you're listening on the audio podcast, you'll know why I said that. No, you won't know why I said that. You've got to watch the video to get the stupid joke. Anyway.
Yep.
That's it. I'm going to pull the plug on this. I am one tired little puppy.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, I saw you yawning a couple of times.
I was off today. You know, I took the day off because my 3-year-old had to go to the dentist and had, it's just both my kids have had they eat too much candy. I throw out candy if I find it. My wife kind of indulges them. So she had to be sedated because she's 3.
Oh no.
You know, so she had to fast. And then woke up this morning and my wife is still at work, so she works at night. Comes home, so I'm like getting the kids ready, dressing the girls, and feeding my 5-year-old who goes to kindergarten now a pancake so she could eat before she goes to class. And she was doing everything else except eating the pancake. And the 3-year-old stole the pancake off the fucking plates, so she couldn't have the anesthesia. So she had to. I had to go. We went to the dentist. We got to come back at noon. You know, it's like So I finally went back there, and she, they tricked her, and they were going to a party in the back. Let's go sit down in the dentist chair, watch some cartoons, and bam, stick her and knock her out. She woke up. She was just like, cranky. Oh. It was awful, bleeding from the mouth. Couldn't eat anything. So I was like, it was a long day for me. I was off work, but
yeah, poor thing.
Yep.
Well, hopefully it'll be a better day tomorrow. You going to work tomorrow?
Yep, I have to work tomorrow. It's even worse. It's so. We had one lady go to leave for another job, so I inherited all of her magazines to work on and stuff, and I'm just like, it's a lot. We all divided up. We got her titles, and another gal's on vacation, so it's like I'm slammed.
Yeah,
big time slammed.
You know what they say? They say that if you have multiple kids, you go to work for the vacation time.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, brother. Have a good time. Good luck next week.
All right.
We'll be in touch. I want to show you a couple of the control things.
All right.
Up Dan. So we'll talk in a day or two.
I'll be around.
And for those of you who have stuck with us live in the chat room, thank you very much for being a part of the show. And just remember, these are our jokes. We're just fucking around. So please, if we said anything that offended you in any way, then fuck you. No, I'm just sorry. We're just joking, just having some fun. So that's it for Dan and Aldo Bare Their Souls. We will just tell you about the schedule. Our schedule's a little weird. I still haven't even figured it out, but a couple of our regular Bears shows will not be on this week, but I'll let people know via social media and some other ways of communicating with our fans here. So in any case, that's it. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
you.